Good evening, everyone, or should I say good morning, because that is exactly where the day would be like for our latest round here, the JoinAPS.com Cup Series on the Elite Racing Network. We are at no other than Twin Ring Motegi. That is just 80 miles away from Tokyo there. Rashad was able to give me that information. I did not calculate that by myself there. And speaking of Rashad, I want to bring him in here. This is a treat here, Rashad, because this is a track that's not on the NASCAR circuit. This is something that's going to be different for these guys.
It's not one that NASCAR visits. In fact, there was once an exhibition race held here, and I'm gonna have some questions for you about that a little bit later in the show. But with NASCAR, but this track was designed by Honda in Japan. It's actually the only oval that's competitively raced on in Japan, and it was designed for their IndyCar program. Back when they wanted to move over and start working on their IndyCar project, they built this entire test facility. It's called Twin Ring because you have both the oval track that we're racing on tonight, as well as I believe it's a 3-mile road course that sweeps just underneath this oval. It actually goes underneath a bridge that the oval goes over, and yeah, they built this test facility to work on their IndyCar project, and eventually IndyCar actually raced here for a number of years. I think their final time racing here was in 2011.
So a treat here tonight for you guys here, overseas racing. Treat that is also on the front row. Take a look at this. Trevor Elam, Ethan Burrell are going to be starting on the front row there, with Trevor Elam getting the nod there for his first pole, and I believe that might be his first pole ever in JoinAPS.com Cup Series. So congratulations to that 29 car, putting down a blazingly fast lap. If you take a look at the top 10, just behind him, Matthew Weeks and Tyler Foley. Foley's still looking for that first win this season, and then Chad Frankenfield, he is no stranger to starting inside the top 5. The question is, can he remain there all race long?
Absolutely. We'll flip through here. A couple of other rows on the grid, as we do just have one pace lap here. Getting going a little bit late today, and so we're going to get you guys straight into the action here at the Memory Lanes 200. A lot to look forward to. Round 7 already in this championship, and we're really starting to hit crunch time here for a lot of these drivers. We are talking points in terms of the championship, and we'll walk you guys through those when we get the opportunity to do so. But 37 drivers taking the green flag tonight. It is going to be Trevor Elam and Ethan Burrell, though, on that front row, leading the field to green. But this is going to be an interesting race. I think potentially 60 to 65 laps on fuel is what we're hearing. Whether or not we get a lot of that green flag running, we'll see. The technical issues already for Scott Kern before we even get to the grid, but the green flag will still wave this time by.
Yes. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight, but it's a good morning for these guys out virtually overseas in Japan. We are green with Trevor Elam leading him into turn number 1 for the Memory Lane 200.
Yeah, poor start for Ethan Burrell, who started alongside the pole sitter, already down to 4th position, so he's got some work to do here getting going. It is a very interesting layout, this racetrack, because it's very wide in general, but kind of follows that same egg shape that I mentioned last week that's similar to Darlington, but it's just over 1.5 miles wide. Oh, it's Fody and Weeks get together.
They did, and both doing a well of a job to hang on, as David Tooker is able to get around his teammate there. What a move and save made by the 11 car, Matthew Weeks, early in this one.
Yeah, this is a really strange track because everything looks like they're rolling just that little bit slower around here. But, I mean, these guys are doing 140 miles an hour in the middle of the corner. It's just so wide. Again, remember, this was designed for Indy cars, so going much, much faster through these corners and what you normally expect for Indy cars. So the car actually looks a little bit sluggish here. It takes some time to get used to from what we're used to seeing, where these cars really seem to hustle around a racetrack. As up the racetrack go Nick Massey and Dustin Dewar. They keep it all rolling.
And that is truly no man's land right there. There is going to be no grip. I don't expect the groove really to widen. I mean, iRacing, it does do well as far as putting rubber down, allowing that bottom lane to try and get really grippy later on as the laps continue to count on, but you're not going to see these guys at all really venturing out into that outside line. As we trouble Hunter Smith into the outside while he'll bounce hard with another competitor as well. We stay under the green flag for now, but the 14 car,
yeah, huge hit for
big damage.
Head to the Whiskey Cast replay, but as of now, no indication that we're going to yellow flag conditions. So the incident happened quickly enough that race officials thought they're out of the way, and we're just going to keep on Racing loose off of turn number 2 into, who was that? Is that Dustin Dewar? I believe it might have been, in that black and green Camaro, and the rest of the field kind of has to scatter. But, I mean, everybody's back out on the racetrack in terms of who got damaged. I think it was that 32 car of Dustin Dewar. That seems to be running all right. You see some right side damage from where he hit the wall, but nothing else on the car, so impressive there. We stay green for now.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire, though, for that 32 car. He was the one that had ventured up into that no man's lane there early, and that put him right into the path of Hunter Smith's problem. Thankfully, both are able to carry on, but that 14 car definitely more damage on the side than Dustin Dewar in that 32. Let's take a look up front. We see the 15 of Chad Frankenfield. He's been able to work his way up to 4th place, right behind David Tucker, and look, a new 2nd place leader. It's going to be that 11 car, Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks holding strong right here, but Trevor Elam's done a good job. He's half a second up the road, kind of cleared these guys off of that pole position and hasn't really had to worry about any pressure from behind. Right now, though, generally this field looking more or less single-filed out here as we just kind of flip through all these drivers. First 2-wide battle you've got here is Jesse Razimus alongside Alec Balvans. Razimus goes for the move, and Balvans is going to stick in line here. Looks like that bottom lane right now seems to be the superior position for most of these drivers.
Yeah, and currently we're not really seeing a lot of battles here. I think everybody's just trying to figure out what they have in store, what will be able to gain them the most positions here later on in this run, as we see David Tucker go extremely wide there. And I believe something with this racetrack here, because of how wide it is there, Rasav, I think it's kind of deceiving for these drivers as far as trying to know when to turn into the corner there. We often talk about markers, and, you know, at NASCAR sanctioned tracks, they have like cones on the outside, but with how wide these corners are, I don't know if these guys can see or have a visual point in order to make the corners here.
No, it absolutely makes it harder. I've driven this track a couple of times in the IndyCars. We see a battle going on for the lead here. Matthew Weeks slides on by Trevor Elam, who really struggles up the racetrack. But it is hard to really gauge, you know, what kind of speed you can carry through the corners, because it is such a wide track. You can carry quite a bit of speed, but that's not necessarily the fastest way through, just going as fast as possible, because you end up using this massive radius of the racetrack. So you kind of have to find that fine groove that works for you. For Matthew Weeks right now, he seems to be finding it. But look out for Chad Frankenfield behind him, because that 15 car also looking very quick right now.
Yeah, Trevor Elam had a bad set of corners right there, and he's going to lose not 1 but 2 positions there. Not going to give up, though. He's going to ride extremely high. Here comes Ethan Burrell, though, on the attack, and you have to wonder, is the drive beginning to go on that 29 car? He looked like he was comfortable just a couple laps ago, and now he's really struggling in that outside lane.
Yeah, it really looks like it. He's just not able to get that car turned into the bottom of the racetrack right now as Foley to the inside. Finally, he kind of gets down to the bottom, whether that he was just caught out by all these drivers streaming down his inside, or he just hasn't been able to get the turn in on the front of the car. That is the word I've been hearing from some of the drivers here today, is that it is a little bit tight. But right now, Trevor Elam seems to be struggling with just a little bit more than a little tight.
Part of a side-by-side battle. Tyler Foley, who had started on the 4th position there, had contact early with Matthew Weeks. Weeks has been able to carry on with the lead, but 40 has actually slipped back. He's now down to the 6th position outside of the top 5 right here, and battling Chad Thornquist there in that 02.
Chad Frankenfield then is our 3rd leader of the night as he takes over from Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, that 15 car, you have to wonder what might have been at Dover there. That car was fast. Unfortunately, he saved it many, many times, but the one time it got away from him, it was big, in a very big way. You have to wonder if Michael Goodman is somewhere there trying to be like, I just want to avoid any issue from anybody else's night.
Absolutely, yeah, no, it's that's going to be one of those things to watch out for here. Because it's a wide track, in theory, you should have quite a bit of time to kind of avoid wrecks and be able to stay out of wrecks, I think, as well, having that wider nature. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, it is going to be interesting how these drivers, we could see a lot of self or one driver induced issues on this racetrack just because of how it races. But how about this side-by-side battle? Thornquist and Brody still going at it. Thornquist seems to be strong in that kind of in the tighter section of 3 and 4. but Foley seems to be able to pull away there, coming out of turn 4 and into 1 and 2. And now Thornquist has to deal with David Tooker and Nick Massey trying to get by him on the inside. That inside line, again, right now just looks to be the more powerful of the 2 lanes on the racetrack, or of the many lanes on the racetrack, but only the 2 usable ones right now.
And adding to some of the problems in racing this racetrack here, if you will, is the fact that these corners are totally different from one another. Just like Darlington, it being except 1 and 2 is completely different than 3 and 4. So how you attack and how your car reacts in turns 1 and 2 might not help you out in turns 3 and 4 and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. You have to have different approaches to it. You know, this track. So different strengths for different drivers at different points during this race. Also need to take into account how the fuel run plays out and how the tires wear on these cars, whether they get more tight or that you start to lose the rears a little bit quicker, and how people are going to deal with the balance a little bit later in the run. So yeah, lot to figure out here for these drivers, but right now settling into a groove and figuring out what they've got underneath them to work with for 129 laps here, though. 13 laps complete, just heading on to lap number 14 now.
Or make that 5-car breakaway at the front of the field, a little bit of separation between Elam and that 29R pole sitter, and Foley there in the 6th position there. Just in front of Tyler Foley, though, is going to be a guy that has gained the most positions inside the top 10, and that would be Gerald Campbell. That 31 car took some time off there, was involved in some heavy issues, just has not had the best of luck in that machine, but right now he's been able to return back to the JoinAPS.com series here, and he's putting on one well of a show here, riding along in the 4th position early.
Yeah, Gerald's kind of a weird guy to follow in the Cup Series because he has years where he's absolutely on it and challenging for a championship, and then other seasons where just things don't seem to be going his way. So this season's kind of felt a little bit like the latter of where things haven't quite been going his way. But when he is, when the race is going well for him, he's always up here, up front and competing. This is a 2-time champion in the JoinAPS Cup Series after all.
It's very, very true. I know he's just been disappointed as of late. So a lot of the wrecks he's been involved have not been as RC Anderson there in the background, way wide.
Yeah, RC
He's going to lose a ton of spots right there. He had moved up there pretty nicely, but everything that he has gained has probably gone for naught now.
Yeah, and that's the tricky part of this racetrack, is it seems to be we can ride it on board here with one of our drivers and just kind of get an idea, but the banking doesn't really seem to be progressive for any of these drivers. You hop on board here with Ethan Burrell in 3rd place. The banking just kind of stays the same the further up the racetrack that you go, so you're not really getting much of a benefit by actually traveling up the racetrack. That progressive banking doesn't help you roll faster around there. So yeah, I mean, like I've been saying, this bottom lane is the way to go because it's the shortest and the fastest way around this racetrack. You really don't want to be getting too high up because you just lose a lot of that support in terms of cornering.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no grip there. You can find yourself easily in trouble. Saw Harrison Talon go a lap down there to the leaders there. Don't know if that is a handling issue or something sent him way back. He's trying to regain, but he's become the first car to go a lap down as we ride on board with Ethan Burrell in the 3rd position there. A couple of Pro Edge Racing teammates, 2nd and 3rd, right behind Frankenfield, who has been able to hang on to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, this is the crazy thing. He's doing 160, 170 miles an hour down this back straightaway. On this track, it's it's a 1.5 mile track, but it feels massive. It doesn't feel like they're going as fast as they would at a Charlotte, or an Atlanta or that type of racetrack. It really has a very different feel to it. So again, certainly it looks that way from the driver's seat as well, and it's looking like that from our standard TV cameras too.
So take a look at this. Here comes Gerald Campbell taking a look underneath the 37 car. We mentioned about the tighter radius on the bottom of the racetrack, especially through turn 3 and 4 there. Looks like that's going to try and be used to the advantage of the 31. They're still side by side. Don't know if that 31 car now. He's just trying to get in the mirror of the 37 car. Let him know he's there, and he'll do so successfully. And he'll take that 3rd position away. Gerald Campbell up to 3rd now.
Yeah, on that last lap, the top 3 drivers were all within 0.03 of a second of each other. Ethan Burrell a little bit slower than that, so he struggled on that last lap. But right now, Frankenfield, Weeks, and Campbell seem to kind of be in a league of their own in terms of pace this late in the run. Tyler Foley also showing a little bit of that same pace, and Nick Massey as well, actually, who's been sliding forward, showing even quicker pace than that. So this top group right now, all looking pretty quick. Ethan Burrell actually looking like, at least on that last lap around, one of the slower drivers. And same thing again, that last lap around, Ethan Burrell struggling just a little bit compared to the rest of the people in this group. So this top 7 right now looking pretty competent, all the way back to Chad Thornquist, and all of these guys running very similar lap times. As you can tell, they're all separated a little bit there from pole sitter Trevor Elam in 8th.
Well, you want to know something here in my notes here, Rashav, that I'm hesitant to mention here, but do want to give props where props is due, and that is this is the longest green flag run we have had this season to start a race. Oh, congratulations to everybody involved. We tried to bring out a yellow flag. Did not happen here, and right now, currently 30 miles into this 200-mile event, no yellow flag yet.
Yeah, let's hope you haven't quite jinxed it there, Alex. But yeah, I mean, following this race, it has been good racing so far. It's very clear. You can clearly tell who are the good cars and who aren't. But I mean, those guys who want to get by, they can make overtakes. So you know, the package is working. The track, I think, is working, and it's giving us some good racing here. Matthew Weeks now getting back to the inside of Chad Frankenfield and going back at it for the lead.
Wow, you saw the 15 car just slip ever so much, and it looked like the 11 car on the attack to try and take advantage. Thankfully, though, the 15 car had enough momentum on the exit of turn 4 to kind of keep that 11 car, but no question about it. If you miss the corner by just a little bit, you travel up the racetrack and open up that door, anybody behind you can take it.
Yeah, despite it being a wider track, you almost feel like you have to be more exact on your inputs as a driver, because you do lose a little bit of that inside lane, and you do track up so much higher out on the racetrack because there's so much more room, and you feel like you've gotten away with it, but really you haven't. You lose so much momentum. So drivers need to be kind of disciplined with themselves. They don't have the walls to force them onto a specific line around the racetrack. They really have to make up that line and force themselves into one specific position on the racetrack. So yeah, it's going to be a new challenge for drivers, and right now they're doing well with it. But look at this battle for the lead. 4 drivers all going at it. All of them have kind of had a look at some point in these past couple of laps, but here we go. Matthew Weeks with another look to the inside of Chad Frankenfield, and Gerald Campbell thinking he might follow too.
Oh, the 11 car just a little bit briefly had to stop in the momentum in the corner, but here goes Gerald Campbell. Is he possibly looking at a 3-wide pass here? Don't think so, but the 11 car definitely wants to take the lead. Frankenfield, though, hanging tough in that outside lane. And this is going to be a true test to see what that outside lane can do, as Ethan Burrell has come to battle as well. Liking what I'm seeing out of this package here, Rashav. These guys they're being able to be forced to the outside, but not necessarily have to relinquish that lead. That 15 car, he's hanging tough.
Yeah, he is. This is a really incredible little battle that's going on here. That outside lane I don't think is going to work out for these guys, as on goes Gerald Campbell as well by the 15 car of Chad Frankenfield. They're going to go side by side. Can he get a bit of a push, though, from Ethan Burrell? You'd think that inside lane, though, through 1 and 2 is going to be sufficient to keep Campbell up front.
I don't know if we have the ability to show kind of the speed that these guys are traveling right now, especially in the corner. It'd be kind of interesting to see just exactly what that input is from these race cars there, especially on newer tires versus older tires. But yeah, that 11 car, once he was on the bottom of the racetrack, he's been able to take off there in that 15. He's kind of in that outside lane with no hole underneath. This is going to be bad for Frankenfield if he cannot venture to the bottom of the racetrack soon.
Yeah, so inside this pack here, 170 miles an hour down the back straightaway, so that's with some draft help as well. So for Frankenfield, that's kind of the best we've seen so far tonight, and you want to use that as much as possible. But yeah, these guys are traveling pretty quick around this racetrack. It again, just a very different perspective on the way it all shapes out. But now it's Weeks, Campbell looking close to the bumper of that 11 car, and Frankenfield tracking up the racetrack again. Ethan Burrell looking for another shot down the inside of that 15 car to make it Pro Edge Racing in 1st and 3rd positions here. The question is, can he get the run down this front straightaway? Doesn't quite look like it. Chad Frankenfield, the nose ahead, might even be a full car length ahead. He is.
He'll take the lead once again there, or excuse me, he'll go up to 3rd place there, as Matthew Weeks has been able to take the lead. You're taking a look at the top 10 that's been able to drive away. We're there in the 11th position, but the top 10 only separated by about 2 seconds there. These guys have this place figured out here early on, and still no sign of a yellow flag. Could we see perhaps our first attempt at some green flag pit stops in about 3 weeks?
Yeah, this one's gonna be really interesting. It's I'm liking the way it's playing out right now. Guys can be aggressive and fight each other. This track's playing really well to, I think, what the strengths of this league are. As you see Rusty Capel coming off pit road in that number 9 car. But guys like to go at it. They like to race side by side, and here they're given the room to race side by side without having to be super close. Ooh, David Tooker with a little bit of a close call there as he's working R.C. Anderson there. Ooh, and Tyler Foley as well with a similar issue. Foley up into the outside wall.
In the 19.
Contact?
I don't think he made contact there, but the 19, I saw tire smoke. He got in the corner so hard, and that all began because of how wide he took the backstretch there. He avoided whatever issue I believe R.C. Anderson had, and that really put him, I think, offline. That or he just kind of missed the corner. Look, he locks it up.
Yeah, you could see that stationary inside front brake. He does make a little bit of contact with R.C. Anderson, but again, everybody keeps it pointed in the right direction. So great to see there. David Tooker still out on the racetrack. Might have hurt his tire wear a little bit and tightened up that car a little bit, losing grip on the front end. But right now, he's sticking at it. Meanwhile, Chad Frankenfield dropping positions right now like crazy. Kind of what we've been seeing here, where if the driver gets stuck on the outside for enough laps, he is going to lose quite a few spots. So loses out to Burrell and Elam, who's now back in the mix here, back up into P4. This top group is really shifting positions ridiculously quickly between all of them.
Yeah, it's been topsy-turvy inside the entire top 10. 1 minute somebody's really strong, the next minute they're backing up. What we saw with the 15 and back to life, it seems like the 29 car. Worried about him and how he was going to be able to have just a good day. He's still, Elam, in search of a top 10, his first of this season. Had the speed there. Obviously, that showed with that pole here today, but right now, he's just trying to put together a good race. Frankenfield is going to slide up. It's the battle of the Chads there inside the top 5. One of them is out of it, but the other one wants to be in it.
Yeah, I feel like we've been seeing the battle of the Chads here a couple of times this season, and they put on some good shows for us right here. Thornquist there. Oh, man, that camera angle made it look like he was going high up into the wall, but there's just so much room on this racetrack here. Right now, Frankenfield with that advantage, that 15 car, but again, track's a little bit wide up in this corner. I wonder if that's potentially to save some tire here and get a cleaner run off of turn number 4, but right now it's hurting you just in terms of pace as Thornquist makes a quick dive to the right. Frankenfield does manage to stay in front for now.
Continue to watch the longest green flag run we've had of the season to open up JoinAPS.com Cup Series race on the Elite Racing Network here. Matthew Weeks still your leader. Gerald Campbell, that 31 car, wrestling right behind him. They have been able to separate themselves a little bit from Ethan Burrell, as I believe we're going to start talking about tire wear and the issues these guys are with handling on the race car there. I believe a pit road, to be honest, I don't know what the specifications are for these guys getting on the pit road, what the tire window is and what the pit road window is here for fuel, but I imagine it's going to be coming up here soon.
Yeah, what I was told, just speaking to a couple of drivers before the race, about 60 laps of fuel, so we're really only about halfway through this fuel run. Again, think about this more along the lines of a standard intermediate track, so about 60 to 65 laps here on fuel. So still some ways to go, actually, pretty surprisingly here, and the lap time around this racetrack is actually pretty long. The average speed around here is fairly low. Best time that we're seeing here in the 36-second range. Typically, I believe for most 1.5 mile tracks, you're looking around 30 seconds, so about 5 or 6 seconds slower than what we'd normally expect at a Charlotte, Atlanta standard kind of D-shaped open.
Exactly there, but with the lack of progressive banking that we're seeing on this racetrack, that's also going to incorporate into why these guys are a little bit slower here. The action, though, has been just, if not better, than what we've seen on some of these racetracks here, because these guys are still all within tenths of one another here. I mean, Chad Frankenfield, he's in the 5th position there, and just behind him is the rest of the top 10. So, quite the battle parity we're seeing amongst these drivers here early.
Yeah, it has been incredible racing so far, and guys have been able to stay close to each other. There hasn't been, as far as we can tell, much of an aero wash issue. So guys are able to kind of stay turned into the corner. They don't really have to worry about, this extending, guys in front extending. Oh, but Foley goes high up in 3 and 4 again. Could get the run off the corner, but R.C. Anderson has the opportunity here to slide up in front, and that might have just been a mistake from Tyler Foley because he's lost that position.
Yeah, does not show you how much these guys, you have to be on top of it every lap. You cannot afford to make a mistake because you slip up one time, you've lost the position there. It was just one mistake there, and now 40 finds himself in the 7th position. So these guys, they have to be on it every lap.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Up front, it is still Matthew Weeks and Gerald Campbell, but they've extended quite a bit of a lead back to Ethan Burrell, who's in 3rd position right now. So those guys have really separated themselves as the top 2 contenders of this one, but they are right there, nose to tail, on top of each other, fighting it out for this lead. We'll let you guys know if they get any closer here, able to run side by side. But right now, as it stands, they're just kind of working their way away from the rest of this group. So Ethan Burrell, Trevor Elam, Chad Frankenfield are kind of the 3 leaders of this next pack, and we're starting to finally see a little bit of separation through here as guys finally settle into, I think, this tire run and settle into what their long-term goals are in terms of making their fuel number or making it to their pit stop number to make it to the end of this race. In theory, if you can run 65 laps around this racetrack, this could be a one-stop race if we stay green all day.
It would be interesting to see a little bit of a wobble out of the 40 car. Always have to think about tire strategy there as well, though. Can the tires last? And hopefully we expect that to last as well there, but the car is not going to be handling at its greatest the further along we are in this run. Cars outside of the top 10 there. Take a look at some of the storylines there. Jared Rexing in the 11th position there. And then Joshua Clark and Zach Evans running along in 12th and 13th. They're doing a great job. You see Rusty Capel, he had already made a green flag pit stop. Don't know if that was unscheduled, but he is a lap down. So take a look at Joshua Clark. There is Zach Evans. Familiar name and a familiar voice you might hear on the Truck Series Monday night. Doing a great job. Moving along in the 13th position. Jeff Green just behind him. And then Scott Crump, who had that technical issue already before the drop of the green flag. Looks like he has been able to kind of find himself just by himself. Hopefully not going to be factoring his internet into anybody else's issue here today, but needs to make his way up to the front.
Yeah, Crump's a guy to watch out for, I think, tonight. Looking at his pace, his lap time, his overall best doesn't quite match up with some of those other guys up front, but his most recent lap times, he has been one of the fastest drivers out on the racetrack, if not the fastest, now that I'm looking through all of these lap times here. I believe he was, that last time by, the fastest driver on the racetrack. Scott Crump's going to be coming up here fast. He just kind of needs to get that track position back that I think he lost there, having to start in the back for this race here. So look out for this 90 car as the laps tick down. He could be up front in that battle for the lead here relatively soon.
Last week's pole sitter, there was some work to do. Things are getting hot and heavy up front there. Trevor Elam proving that that pole is no fluke there. He wants to get up and lead this pack.
Yeah, and just, quick heads up there. Scott Crump does make the move on Jeff Green. A few blinking issues, though. Don't love to see that, especially if you're a Scott Crump fan. But right now they seem to settle out, so maybe not. So got to keep an eye out
now
for that.
Now you see him, now you don't.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got to be a little bit cautious there. Of course, not much he can do, but we've seen this issue plague him in the past. As Chad Thornquist is around, and we have our first caution of the night.
The 0-2 comes to a halt. Looks like it'll be a single car spin. But just like that, 60 miles.
Yep.
As he just got out of it, and then he does well of a job to turn that car, kind of jolt it to the right, to the left to make sure it doesn't go back into traffic there. Does come to stop, and iRacing Control feeling that that was significant enough to bring out our first yellow flag. Don't know exactly why he got in trouble, though.
Yeah, let's take a look here. This is on board with Thornquist. Take a look at those hands in the steering wheel. See if he just gets loose there. It does. Yep, just snaps out on him. Kind of looked like he gathered it, but then just kind of snaps again on him. So almost saved it, but was able to at least keep it out of the wall there for the 0-2 of Chad Thornquist. Gets it rolling again, but does bring out the first caution of the night.
So the longest green flag run of the season comes to an end on lap 41. That gives everybody a chance to go down pit road here. This will definitely make it another green flag stop will have to be made in order to make it to the end, though. Any strategy for that will have gone out the window. Pit road is open and the leaders are in.
Yeah, expect just about everybody to come down pit road. That is, in fact, what is happening here. Don't see anybody else out there, so find your pit box. This is the first time here tonight. These guys have had to do that. Of course, pit boxes are all decided by qualifying position, so you have a vague idea as to where to go, but got to figure it all out right here. Looks like so far no major mistakes by any of these drivers. And, except Thornquist, I think, just actually moved forward just to add insult to injury to this particular, or these last couple of laps here. But out they come here. R.C. Anderson with a good stop. Gerald Campbell actually looked like he had a pretty rough stop. He falls way back.
Yeah, he does. As you see the battle off pit road there. Matthew Weeks going to continue to lead.
It's going to be Frankenfield next, Elam. Then R.C. Anderson, Gerald Campbell then rounding out your top 5. Then you'll grab the 37 of Ethan Burrell. Nick Massey in the 48, Joshua Clark in the 28, David Tooker, and Zach Evans then rounding out your top 10 coming off of pit road. So Thornquist lost a few spots there on pit road. Tyler Fody lost quite a few spots there on pit road, probably repairing a little bit of damage. We saw he made contact side by side with Matthew Weeks early on in the race, and he might have hit the wall, even just tapped it on the outside. So could have just been in there for a little bit longer, grabbing some repairs, as it does look he sat stationary for about 10 seconds longer than the rest of the drivers who just came out in front of him.
So under caution here for the first time today. I believe we're going to have yet another lap, so that is going to give us a chance to go ahead and pay some bills here. In fact, I don't have that, but Rasaf, if you want to read off our sponsors. I was going to stop the commercial break, and I was not ready myself. I would have read. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
The floor is yours.
Absolutely. Well, we want to, of course, thank our premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing League, C2 Freight Resources, Blue Egg Marketing, and Powerhouse Recycling. C2 Freight Resources offer complete freight management services, and they're ready to meet your needs today as well as your changing needs in the future. Thousands of qualified carriers in their database. They're capable of handling shipping for every type of good, from perishable foods all the way to office equipment. Whatever you need to ship, they have access to the necessary equipment, including flatbeds, double drops, vans, tankers, refrigerated equipment, multi-axle heavy haulers, dump trucks, auto carriers, intermodal containers, and more. Check out C2 Freight Resources, proud sponsor of Jeff Green, driving that number 38. Also want to shout out Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg Marketing, well, they're the marketing department for small businesses. For small business owners, Blue Egg Marketing is your absolute biggest fan. Whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity, and they'll help your business punch well above their weight class. Additionally, we want to thank Powerhouse Recycling on board with us for this season. Powerhouse strives to offer the highest level of customer service in the industry for each load process, time and time again. Attainable account representatives, prompt and on-time pickups, and customized recycling solutions keep Powerhouse Recycling as North Carolina's market leader in customer service. I want to thank, of course, our fantastic premier sponsors once again here as we're watching just some aspects of the road course here at Twin Ring Motegi as everybody gets gridded back up to go. We also want to talk about memory lanes. This is the Memory Lanes 200, of course, and one of a few Memory Lanes events that we're having this season. In fact, the 3 Memory Lanes races that we have coming up to end out the regular season, all of them have a bit of a special prize to them. So here tonight at the Memory Lanes 200, the top 5 are eligible for $100 at Daytona on May 4th. That's the regular season finale. Tonight, and the top 5 from Charlotte, the World 600 taking place in just a couple of weeks' time, those 10 drivers, so top 5 from tonight, top 5 from Charlotte, they'll all get a chance to race for $100 in Daytona. So just another thing to add to the stress of Daytona when it comes to ending the regular season. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
That'll be fun to watch as the battles brew down, especially with money on the line. Get out of my way. That should be enough to maybe give me a half a tank in my Corolla. Coming back to green here, cleaning up our first caution flag of the night. Pace car we expect to be in this time by. He is. That means the track is all in the hands of the 11 of Matthew Weeks. He fires off. Chad Frankenfield on his outside. We are back to green for the Memory Lanes 200 here at Twin Motegi.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks, good start there. Trevor Elam going to slide into second ahead of Chad Frankenfield. So we'll see how everything settles out here, but could see a little bit of movement throughout the early parts of this restart, especially that outside lane, maybe not getting away as quickly as they might have hoped. Definitely some movement towards the back, but looks like everybody's able to get rolling all in the right direction here. 31 car of Gerald Campbell side by side with Chad Frankenfield through 3 and 4. They're going to stay side by side, though, coming off the corner. Ooh, as a caution comes out again.
Yes. Things were pretty antsy in the back of the back. I saw Zach Evans have a moment there to turn 2, but something further in this field. Looks like it might be the 12 car. David Lester Green. Oh, big slide. He gets 63. And Johnny Thomas, excuse me, not, who is the 12 there? Vincent Isabella there, my bad. Big slide, and he just looked like he just missed the corner.
Yeah, that's definitely what it looked like there for the 12 of Vincent Isabella. Goes in there just a little bit too hot, makes contact there with the 91 of Johnny Thomas. Let's see if we can grab an in-car here with Vincent Isabella on this restart and see just what happened here. So here we go. He is issued at fault here, so kind of gets a run, dives it to the inside, but you can see just way too much speed taken in there, locks it up, hits the 83 as well of Shane Terry, and a couple other drivers involved in that one too. Jesse Rasmus grabs a piece of it. And then Johnny Thomas there. Oh, and Rusty Capel up in the wall as well. We didn't see the 9 car of Rusty Capel in there either.
And if you thought Johnny Thomas was hot 2 weeks ago, well, I wouldn't want to be the first one to interview him now about that. Completely blindsided by this here. 12 car just gets into him. He's just wrong place, wrong time. And he has some significant damage to the front end of that 91 car. He had been running, I believe, just inside the top 20. Not a great day, but having a good run. And now he's going to have to try and salvage yet again something out of this race.
Yeah, man, Johnny Thomas a few weeks back was very vocal about his opinions on how guys have been driving recently here in the Cup Series. I'm sure that's not going to help his feelings about that. So yeah, unfortunate to see there from last season's Daytona 500 champion. But man, it just hasn't been going his way this season at all. It really, you know, I can't think of too many incidents this season where it's been him at fault. It's really been him getting just caught up in other people's messes that take place. So really unfortunate to see there. But man, that's just part of this racing. But he's definitely had some bad luck here.
So under caution here for the second time tonight. Now that allows us to get some trivia. I believe you had some trivia for me there, Rasav. There you were quoting about that before we got started on tonight's race here. So what do you have for me? What do you got for the fans?
Oh, the little quiz question?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know it was a quiz.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For the quiz.
Oh, yeah. No, I you know, you've spent so many times, you know, grilling me on NASCAR history when I don't know much about it. You're supposed to be the NASCAR history buff, so let's see what you know. So, all right, so Twin Ring Motegi actually hosted a NASCAR exhibition race in 1998. It was the Coca-Cola 500 that year, and it had a very special, it was obviously the first oval racetrack, or oval race in Japan for NASCAR, but it had a very special meaning as well for the fans. What was that?
You know, the only thing I do remember of that event, because I did do my NASCAR history project that got me the job with NASCAR, I remember there was a picture of Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I believe that was the first time they had raced with one another in the Cup Series level.
I'm genuinely upset that you got that right.
Yeah, did I get it? Was that it?
Yes. How did you know that?
Well, there's a picture. I have a picture of through my what do you call it? My 2 minutes, my history of NASCAR in 2 minutes, and one of my pictures is both Dale Jr. and Dale Earnhardt right next to one another. All the teams, they kind of funnel out with one another, and I made sure I was like, I want that picture into my report. So yes.
Oh my gosh, Alexander Ned, everybody there, like NASCAR history buff right there. Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to have you stumped. I was so excited. I'm like, he's never going to know this.
That's the only thing I remember, what do you call it? Because I do remember Twin Ring. I was like, oh yeah, that had to be, to be honest though, I thought it was on the road course. So I had the year wrong, but that's, but I do remember Twin Ring, and so yeah, I was just doing some point. That's
I got to come up with a harder question. Who won that race? Haha.
Oh God.
I mean, I can see the problem is.
Hold
if
on, hold on.
I tell you
I do know because it was not Rusty Wallace. What Rusty Wallace won the first one, and so it must have been. I want to say Mike Skinner, but I don't know.
I can't believe that. That's right.
Is it Mike Skinner?
It's Mike Skinner.
Ah, yes. Sometimes I second guess myself.
I can't believe that. Oh my gosh.
Well, it's because of that history project. I'm telling you, man. Shameless plug. Look it up. The history of NASCAR in 2 minutes. You can find it on YouTube. It only goes to last year's year, but it's definitely a fun video to make. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, incredible video. Definitely check that out because wow. I mean, yeah. I'm stumped. Yeah, I got nothing more. I was looking through. I was scrolling the Wikipedia page on the race. I'm like, yeah, I got stuff. Alex isn't gonna know this, but man, all right.
You almost, if you had told me, I had the road course there just mixed up, so I don't know. Now that I've been able to do laps and everything, and I do remember that. I do remember seeing the Dale Jr. and Dale Earnhardt photo. So that was really cool. If we go back to green, sorry, Sam.
Oh man,
have to come back next.
Ooh.
Oh, that was a big slide by the 29 to block that advance of the 31. Yeah.
Ethan
back
Burrell,
under the
Chad
green flag here. And how about the 29 car? He is back up to second place there. Maybe just one adjustment away from trying to take the lead. Ooh, the 15 car. That's a hornet's nest. As R.C. Anderson almost gets into the back bumper. And I think he had to get in the base. Elam, though, missed the corner. One car out of control there, and it's going to be Nick Massey. It's a quick dive. What looked like to the inside there. He gathered it up.
Elam issues, or at least goes high there and loses a couple of spots. Though he's back into the groove of it, back up to speed.
I think that just goes to show how important it is to try to solidify your position there, as we see Thornquist rumble out of the pocket there. Try and get around Jeff Green and retain that position. Now, the 90th Scott Crump, you had picked him earlier in this race to keep an eye on him as he appears and then suddenly not. I'm telling you, he's going to have to get either closer to the front of the field or closer to the back, because him being in the middle of the field with that blinking issue is not going to be good for anyone.
Yeah, it wasn't. He was just 3 wide there momentarily as well, heading into turn number 1 as we get another blink there from the 90 car. But a lot of speed in that car, and he's now up inside the top 10. Again, we'll keep an eye out right now, but yeah, as things play out, bit of separation once again here. So Matthew Weeks, good jump there. Gerald Campbell, Chad Frankenfield, and then you've got this kind of gaggle of cars here. Josh Clark goes way up wide there. Now allows Scott Crump to look down the inside. Clark needs to get himself rolling back in the right direction. Can he stay alongside Crump? He can for now. But the question is, does Crump now have that preferred line? He looks like he does, and should be able to complete that move there into turn number 1.
Yes, Crump now inside the top 10 for the first time here today. He had started deep in this field because of a technical issue to start this race. Right now, Thornquist, though, taking a look, trying to remedy that earlier spin that brought out caution number 1. And he's back taking a look underneath the 28 of Joshua Clark. Meanwhile, Matthew Weeks and Gerald Campbell back in control of this race up front. Matthew Weeks trying to become the 3rd multi-winner of the season.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy the past couple of weeks. We've had guys going out and winning their second races of the season. Last week we had actually the wrong one there. Last week, what do we have? We had Colin Bowden picking up his second win. We had Nick Massey picking up his second win of the season 2 weeks ago. So right now, Weeks and Tooker are the 2 drivers. Weeks and Tooker are the 2 drivers who've won a race but haven't won 2. So Matthew Weeks would like to add his name to that group of winners of 2 races this season. Though I'm sure a lot of drivers behind him would like to add their names to just one-time race winners this season, including Gerald Campbell, Chad Frankenfield, R.C. Anderson hasn't won yet this season, Ethan Burrell, Scott Crump. There's a lot of talent in this field that hasn't won, as we do have another caution out on the racetrack.
Look at that pace car fly by. Ain't nobody getting past him when the caution flag is out. Looks like gonna feature the 70 cars of C. Rasmus. Ooh, big hook and go up the hill, man, and Dallas Myhan in the. Oh, I'm sorry.
Was that
Britt Jones in the 89?
I wasn't sure.
It may have been. I thought it was. I thought
Oh,
I saw
yeah.
the 26, but yep, Brent Jones in the 89 car, an innocent victim right there. Wow, does that not go to show you how quickly the car just snaps around with you with a mistake? I mean,
Instant,
the older
yeah.
car, you had a chance to save it. It's non-existent in this next gen car, and that is true in real life. That is true virtually here. So hard to save this. Jesse Rasmus here. You're on board as he bobbles,
goes,
and then
wow.
it goes up the hill. That would be an extremely hard impact, especially without any banking there to catch you. That car had no chance of relinquishing any speed as we see pit road become a busy place once again.
Yeah, Gerald Campbell out here on pit road. Looks like a bit of a split opinion here on who comes down pit road. So Campbell should be the first driver off here, and he is. But Weeks, Frankenfield, Enerson, Burrell, Elam, Crump, Clark, Tooker, Massey, Martinez, Isabella all staying out on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Campbell, Thernquist, Fody, Adams, Rucker, Green, Evans, Rexing, Canadal, Staffer. These are kind of the guys who were all kind of inside that top 20. All of those guys came down pit road here. So bit of a different strategy here. About, what have we got? About 10 lap difference between these guys in terms of maybe probably even fewer green flag laps. So that's the thing. So you're maybe only talking 5 green flag laps, but these guys must be thinking right now long term, do they think they can make it to the end of this race?
Yeah, and perhaps, we're getting close to already here, about to be, I think, what, 13 laps from halfway or so, maybe 7. I'm never good at math here, as I like to say. I hate being asked that. That's what the that's what the ticker's supposed to have. But yeah, we are nearing halfway here, and only our third yellow flag up front. The people that did not pit: Matthew Weeks, Chad Frankenfield, RC Anderson, Ethan Burrell, and I believe Trevor Elam. Did he not pit as well?
Trevor Elam did not. He stayed out. So actually,
Yeah.
it's everybody up to 10th place 11th place Vincent Isabella, who did not come down on this most recent caution.
And with that split strategy, we'll also be able to see just exactly how much new rubber is for these guys. What that means on the race car here versus some of these guys. They've only had 2 heat cycles with 2 caution flags coming out, but we'll see if that perhaps is a factor in driving up through the field versus these guys who have the same tires. Their last pit stop coming on, I believe, lap 41, 42.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about the competition going on with the Memory Lanes events coming up at the end of this season, but we didn't really get a chance to talk about Memory Lanes themselves. They're in the heart of Athens, Wisconsin. They're a historic building with a modern-day touch, a place where young and old come together. What truly gives Memory Lanes its character, though, is its owner and operator, Randy. Massive thanks to Randy and Memory Lanes. They've come on board in a huge way this season, supporting the Elite Racing Leagues and all of the series that we run here. Also a proud sponsor of the 32 car of Dustin Dewar. He's out on the racetrack too. Where is he? There he is, running right now in the 22nd position. But Dustin Dewar, there you can see that Memory Lanes on the back bumper of that green race car. Again, supporting those colors, getting them involved with the Elite Racing Leagues. Another one of those great sponsors that we're so happy to have back. For multiple races in the season. So awesome to have them on board there, as we do finally see guys gritting up 2 by 2 to get ready to try another restart here.
Well, in that shot there, Johnny Thomas didn't know exactly what position he was on there, but glad to see him still going out there. I was worried that was some major damage that he had in our second caution flag, but looks like he's been able to remedy that, try to get back on the lead lap. So Matthew Weeks, our top 10, been down pit road since lap 42. Rest of the field has newer tires here. We are about to put lap 60 on the board, just 5 laps shy of about halfway. I'm liking this racetrack here. This would be a good, what do you call it? I feel event to bring back, perhaps. And I've heard NASCAR, you didn't hear it from me, but I've heard that NASCAR is looking at having an exhibition race here soon overseas. So we'll see just exactly where that might be.
Definitely, I think with with the Cup car racing at Le Mans, we do go back to green flag racing here. But with the Cup car racing at Le Mans, you know, this upcoming year, you know, all those kinds of things, trying to get more, I think, people from overseas involved in the Cup Series or involved in NASCAR would be huge for the sport to really help it diversify. So there are a couple of pretty intriguing ovals out in Europe and over, of course, here in Japan with Twin Ring Motegi. Would love to see these guys come out here or even race road courses outside of the United States. But long way to go there. But right now we get the opportunity to do that here in iRacing because, well, in just about a few seconds you can fly anywhere. But Chad Frankenfield flying off the racetrack as he goes down the field. Just struggled to find him there, Chad Frankenfield.
This just seems to be unfortunate norm for the 15 car. He'll get loose there at running up front, and he'll lose a ton of position. Thankfully, I don't know how, throughout that camera shot we had live, he did not hit that inside wall. Don't know if he had a bump, but that car, it just gets loose. He gets loose, he gathers it up one time, and then puts more wheel into it, and does all but hit the inside wall there. I'm telling you, there was a foot, if not less, between him and that concrete barrier. He's fallen all the way outside of the top 20.
Yeah, that right now seems to be Frankenfield's Achilles heel this season. He has incredible pace, but sometimes can get a little bit too excited on the throttle, I think, coming off the corners. We saw it multiple times at Dover last week. That 15 car was arguably the fastest car out on the racetrack, but just mistakes from Chad Frankenfield prevented him from keeping it up front. Similar situation right there. Just got it loose coming off of the corner, a little bit excited on the throttle pedal, and that kind of hurts that 15 car. We'll see, though. Long way to go in this race. We're just now approaching the halfway point in this event. So Frankenfield still has the opportunity to come back up front. We know there's pace in that 15 car. Scott Crump, though, back in the picture now, up inside the top 5, racing alongside R.C. Anderson as both of them make a move on David Tucker.
Kind of seems that with White Lightning Racing, only one can be inside the top 5 at one point. Let's see, in the 90 car, he's been able to get into the 4th position. R.C. Anderson, that's another car. That's one that's been on my radar there, Rashav. He seems to have been able to work his way up. He's up 12 positions since he dropped the green flag. And, of course, Scott Crump, he's up 26. Started deep in this field. So both those Ford Mustangs have some pace in them. Caution is out. 4th one of the night.
Looks like it's going to be for Wyatt Canadle in that 84 car. Same thing with Chad, but this time he's not able to save it. Oh, and
Johnny Thomas! Oh, let me tell you, Radioactive, if we had it, we wouldn't be able to play it for you because everything would be bleeped out.
Oh,
Johnny Thomas is not happy inside that race car, and rightfully so. You see Wyatt Canadle just get loose. He tries to save it there. Johnny Thomas is wrong place, wrong time, as we've seen time after time after time again.
Man, Johnny Thomas. What do you got to do if you're that 91, the driver of the 91 car, because it just does not seem like he's having any luck at all this season. Take a look there. You see the 84 car getting loose below, and if you're Thomas, obviously there's nowhere else to expect to go on the racetrack.
You're committed at that point out of the corner there. He's just following his line. You see the trouble. That also goes back to the conversation we kind of had last week at Dover. There was when do these guys know when trouble is breaking out in front of them and how much time you have to react? But even, I don't think he had a choice but to be in his lane there with that 84 car. Just suddenly coming flying across the racetrack there. And you feel for Wyatt Canadle, too. He had been having not a great run, but just a good run, as we see now those guys that had not been on the pit road. This is going to open up the window, though, to make it to the end, I believe. So perhaps we see some of those guys that were on pit road earlier with just a splash and go. Some of these guys taking tires so up front, and then some people elected to stay out.
Yeah, that call to stay out, interesting there. Could we be seeing more cautions? Right now, we've been favoring more towards, very short runs with a lot of cautions after that long green flag run to start us out. So right now, it might not be the worst move in the world for this top 11 group here to stay out on the racetrack and keep their track position. But But yeah, Trevor Elam on back, so 12th position on back. It's actually going to be Matthew Weeks who leads them off of pit road. They're all going to be on fresh tires. Once again, about a 10-lap difference there, 9 laps officially on the racetrack, but more realistically about 4 to 5 laps there under green flag conditions.
Eric Campbell going to lead for the first time today. He's in front of Nick Massey, 2-time winner this season already. Looking to try and build up that solid points lead. He might have actually. I'm not sure exactly what his point position is. And in fact, Rashad, maybe now is a good time to pull up those points. I know you were talking about that earlier this season.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can get those rolling here. Talk you guys through what the point situation looks like here heading into round number 7. It's Tyler Foley up front despite not having a win, and by a reasonable margin, and Matthew Weeks there as well, who's looking for his second win of the season, running in second. Third place, Chad Thornquist. Those three kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack, and it starts to get a little bit tighter down, to the next group of guys. So Tucker and Massey really close on points there. Frankenfield kind of a little bit in no man's land there in 6th, but Burrell very close with Rucker. And then you have that real cluster of guys, Goodman, Tarian, Adams, Clark, Crump, Lytle, Brent Jones, all within very close of each other. That's just 6 points separating drivers from 9th all the way back to 15th.
Oh, that is a close battle here. One that's going to get more intense as the season goes along. Just after this race, 4 laps to settle who is 4 races to settle who is going to be inside that playoff grid. And it comes down to the high banks of Daytona. Huh. I love that. Every season should end at Daytona. Not end at Daytona. Every regular season should end at Daytona. I actually did. I did a project there, Rashad. I don't know if I let you know. I think I put it in the group chat there about a NASCAR in reverse and what the championship would look like if we started at Phoenix and ended with the Daytona 500.
I think so.
And
did Kyle Larson still win that?
It was not Kyle Larson, but my top 5, the top 4 working backwards for last season, it ended up being 3 of what the top 4 were at Phoenix last year. So it was Martin Truex, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and then subbing out Chase Elliott, who made the Final 4 at Phoenix last year. It was William Byron that was actually able to make it into the top 4 because of his win at Homestead last year. And so through all of that, it came down to the last lap, because if you remember that big crash in last year's Daytona 500 that started early, which is why I'm a big proponent of not having the season end, because you don't want to have that come down to that. It took out Truex and Byron immediately. They were out. But it came down to Hamlin and Larson. It was kind of ironic to me because those guys had been the best of the season all season long, no matter how you flipped it forward or backward. But on the last lap, when that caution came out with both Penske cars, Logano and Keselowski getting into it, Hamlin actually touched Larson entering that corner, and Larson actually fell back. And so Hamlin won the championship in reverse by a last lap pass because of that. Hamlin finished 5th and Larson finished 10th. So it was intense. I calculated every point, every playoff point, every every stage win for every driver. It was a lot of work, but it was pretty cool to see, what the season would look like if we had Daytona and the regular season. So that's cool.
It's a really cool project there to see, and cool to see how it played out. But yeah, I mean, new system for us here in the Elite Racing Leagues. Hopefully we still get it to play out just the same way of, exciting. It's still an elimination, playoffs once we get there. But of course, getting rid of that win you're in system is huge, and I think drivers really like that. So it's still elimination, but points do matter and consistency matters. So I like this, playing around with different point systems. I feel like NASCAR has opened up the ability to try that out, and guys trying different point systems, and it leads to some really cool results sometimes. But a lot of the times, you end up with similar results, very similar results to what just happened anyways.
Exactly. I mean, it did not matter forward or backward. We still had Larson and Hamlin being the class of the field last year. Obviously, Larson getting the nod, but Hamlin not doing too sappy himself, putting it in reverse. Back up front, you see Gerald Campbell able to put some distance in front of Nick Massey. How about this battle for 3rd place? Joshua Adams in that 95 car. First time we've mentioned his name today. He's doing a great job. Ooh, but just looks like He all but nipped the wall at a turn number 2. Going to allow Jared Rexing in that 10 car to take a position there. And there's Chad Thornquist in that 02 car back inside the top 10 after spinning earlier.
Yeah, Josh Adams, haven't seen a ton of him tonight, or honestly haven't seen a ton of him this season, unfortunately, since he's such a talented driver. Running a part-time schedule, I believe, or at least has just been so unlucky with his running, at least so far. But I'm pretty sure it's part-time schedule there, and yeah, man. When he does run, though, you always look out for that 95 car. It's going to be competitive, and right now showing that here, running P4, of course, on that strategy with the leaders. So you kind of look at that top 9 group of drivers who are on these slightly older tires. He's part of that group. You go back to 10th, Matthew Weeks, and that's the first of the drivers who just pitted on this most recent caution. We'll see how his pace is after a few laps here once everybody's kind of settled out. But realistically, very similar lap times to Hunter Smith right in front of him, and actually a little bit slower than the guys all the way up front. So tires maybe not as big, or at least that wasn't enough of a lap difference to make enough of a difference on tire wear.
These guys, though, up front will have to worry about fuel, though, if it does go green, as we see Matthew Weeks trying to make a 3-wide battle. Think better of it. We'll live to fight another day. And how about the rebound for the 14 of Hunter Smith? It was earlier on, I believe, lap 3 that we saw that car slice hard into the outside wall. And you see some damage still on that machine, but he's been able to rebound, and Hunter Smith doing all he can to make sure he has a good run here today.
Yeah, looking good right now for Hunter Smith. He's kind of on the outskirts there of the points picture, if I recall correctly. But yeah, if he can just kind of keep running, again, consistency is such a big deal now with the way this championship has changed in the way we score points. Hunter Smith right now running P17. He's very much in contention for a chase spot if he keeps up a good run over the course of the season. So just kind of needs to stay consistent, keep putting in solid results, and that gives you an opportunity there. Top 14 drivers make the chase, so he's running 17th right now. He's only a couple positions out.
And a Matthew good Weeks run at Watkins Glen. Oh, excuse me.
No, I was just going to say, Matthew Weeks just put in the purple lap time of the race, so fastest lap of the race so far. Those tires are now starting to come into play here. Question is, can he convert that into track position, as we do have a battle up front for the lead between Massey and Campbell?
Yes, Nick Massey never got a chance to get to the lead at Dover last week. It was involved in a wreck pretty early. Did not have a chance to defend that concrete win he had 2 weeks ago at Nashville, but now that 48 car back out to the point. Doing a great job as well. Tyler Foley, our championship leader, currently, though, in the 3rd position. Proving exactly why he is in championship form. They're consistently inside the top 5, still trying to break out and get that first win of the season.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think, but yeah, Fody, what he does best is consistently puts in good results, and that's kind of what we're seeing here tonight from that 40 car, and why he's leading the championship in terms of points. And it's going to look to the inside, but again, kind of being able to make those decisions and understand, hey, when is the right time to make a move, all that kind of stuff. And of course, just having that general pace, I think, obviously helps you, prevents you from making maybe more desperate moves that sometimes guys will make. So that 40 car has been impressive all year. Just been, he's been 9 out of 10 at pretty much every single race weekend. That hasn't quite been enough for a win any of these times. So he's hoping tonight that changes, but he has a little bit of work to do here to catch up and pass Gerald Campbell and Nick Massey. Massey right now starting to gap Campbell a little bit up front at the point of this here on lap 77.
Working lap 77 there as, sorry, I was trying to take a look and see. Yep, that is Jared Rexing it, just battling outside of the top 5. Looking to try and get in. Haven't also talked much about him. This is a guy that had a win last season as well. He's still looking in search for his new first win in this next-gen car of this season.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And for Rexing, where he stands in points, if I just quickly pull that one up, he's had a bit of a rough season, I think, in general. Right now, sits 40th in points. Though I think he's been running a part-time schedule, or he's just had really bad luck. I actually got to check that. No, he's run 5 races, so he's actually had enough races to count all of them towards his final stats. But man, oh man, he has one finish this season, and it was a 4th place at Michigan. But yeah, I mean, Rexing has not had the luck in terms of finishing races out.
No, and that is some of that. Sometimes you just have a season like that there, Rasov. It's just nothing goes your way. Right now, I'm thinking about currently like Haley Deegan in the truck series. She has just not had any luck on her side there. Still trying to learn. A lot of these guys are still trying to learn. I'm trying to think of the Cup series there. Some of the big names that we're not used to seeing. Keselowski, his struggles. I mean, I try not to be biased. Oh my goodness, that car is just disastrous right now. I'm still sad to see the lack of speed in that car, but sometimes you just have a season where at the beginning run you're doing all you can just to keep all 4 wheels pointed in the right direction, and even that could be a challenge. We saw that with Bubba Wallace. He lost a wheel. He'll have a 4-race suspension of his crew chief and car chief for the next month. So it is just sometimes you're the windshield, other times you are the bug, and a lot of these guys are feeling that smack early in the season.
They absolutely are. Again, we've talked, ad nauseum about just the adjustment to this next-gen car. And while we did race it last year, it was a completely different package, a completely different car to what they're really racing this season. So while on your screens in 2021 B, it looked like they were racing that next-gen Cup car, it was nothing like what they're driving here today, what they've been driving for the past 6 weeks here in the Cup Series. It really is a completely different beast, and that's why guys have been struggling. That's why guys have been trying to figure things out, is now that there's actual, real testing data on the next-gen car, or I guess now the current-gen Cup car, it translates over to iRacing, and these guys are feeling much more similarly to what the current Cup drivers are seeing. And I mean, who remembers Auto Club? Who remembers, these cars are very difficult to handle in real life, and I think even the drivers have noted that these cars are more difficult to drive sometimes than the last generation Cup cars. So it is a huge step in a different direction. We talked a few weeks ago about Denny Hamlin, the mistake he made, thinking it was an H-pattern gearbox, right, versus the sequential gearbox. So everybody's having to make changes here, both in the real world and virtual world, and we're getting a chance to see that. People are going to change and adjust to it at different paces, and for us, it leads to some pretty exciting results when it comes down to finishing off these races.
Yeah, well, it's encumbered some drivers there. It's also allowed other drivers to just flourish. I mean, how about Ross Chastain getting his first win there just a couple of days ago at Circuit of the Americas? I mean, Chase Briscoe at Phoenix. I mean, there are 3 drivers currently inside the playoff grid for the real NASCAR Cup Series that were not there last year, as the yellow flag comes out for the 5th time here tonight. But the parity of this race car here, allowing drivers that we just don't talk about a shot, a chance. Right now, Briscoe, Cindric, Chastain, drivers that were not involved in the playoff at all. As we see, 61 car, he's going to do the same thing. A lot of these drivers following the same tire marks of earlier issues. That's exactly what happened with Wyatt Canadle, who also had the same bobble, kind of in the same position there as Chad Frankenfield. So 3 different times you've seen trouble out of that corner from 3 different cars.
Yeah, fortunately for Stafford, that time by, it was just a 1-car incident, or I guess fortunate for other drivers as well. It was just him spinning around, and we were separated enough where it wasn't as big of an issue. But man, oh man, that turn 4 really seems to be getting guys out. Yeah, as there's that tally issued for the 61 car.
It'll get you every time.
Yeah, how many times have we seen that here? It is interesting, different penalty system to what we've done before. No end-of-line penalties, but these do add up, towards the end of the season. So, that turn 4 though, it's really interesting. Wyatt Canadle, Bronson Stafford, Chad Frankenfield. We've seen other guys snap a little bit loose and then come back and save it. As we see, I'm gonna guess pretty much everybody come down pit road here to I think guarantee themselves a good finish here if we do go green. But yeah, I mean, it's not just turn 4 here at Motegi. It's coming off of corners in general. That kind of weight transfer, I think, coming off of the banking typically onto a flatter surface causes a lot of drivers some issues in this new car. So again, it goes back to what we were saying just a few laps ago, and it's just adjustment. It's going to take some time for everybody.
This is the caution flag that's going to solidify the strategy made by those guys in the previous caution to stay out. Now they're guaranteed to keep that track position as everybody behind them electing to go ahead and pitch. So Nick Massey, Drew Campbell, I believe some of these guys are going to be big winners here. Other guys that pitted late in that caution flag, they'll be on the same strategy, but they do not have the track position. Matthew Weeks, he's back in the 8th position there. Ethan Burrell, I think he's actually dropped out. Don't know exactly where that 37 car is, but he has dropped out of the top 10.
Ethan Burrell, he's still sitting on pit road actually in that 37 car. Been
there
for
no.
35 seconds. Could this be another bathroom break here for the 37?
We'll have to, maybe, if Dave is listening, maybe he could just listen in and figure that out just to see for us. We've seen this before out of the 37 car, and I would have to imagine so, perhaps.
He does get it rolling again, though, but he's stationary there for 47 seconds. Not what you wanted to see if you're following there, that 37 car for Ethan Burrell, who was having a pretty good run up until the most recent couple of pit stops. Kind of got shuffled back. 29 actually got a caution for contact under. Excuse me, he got an end of line. That's huge
for our pole setter. And that continues an unsettling trend I've had written down of the pole setter finding trouble during the race. Trevor Elam becoming the latest victim, this time contact during the yellow flag.
Yeah, might have to scroll back a little bit. Oh, actually, we just completely missed it. It was when everybody was coming off of pit road here. Watch Trevor Elam in that first pit box coming off here. A slide out of his pit box. Just loses the rear end.
Oh!
Hits a couple of cars there, and they all have to go diving away to avoid him. Just unsafe release there for the 29 car of Trevor Elam.
What would cause that there? Is that just
lighting up the tires, I think,
yeah. Normally that first pit stall is a benefit for you, especially if it's pole sitter. That's what everyone wants to go to. You get to fire off, don't have to usually worry about pit road speed and exit, but I guess you do have to worry about the speed of your car, and if you can handle it, getting out. Unfortunately, the 29 car. Thankfully, that was a single car issue. I don't know anybody else really was nipped by that, had significant contact, but 29 has his work cut out for him for this one. So throughout all of this, it has allowed that 48 car, Nick Massey, to have control of this race. That is a dangerous duo there up front. 48 car, who's arguably been, if not the best all season long, and then that 40 car who has the points to back that stat up as well.
Yeah, Massey's had a great season. I mean, he's had a great first 2 seasons in the Cup Series, right? You talk about last year coming in and making it, making that really deep championship run, winning multiple races, doing all that in technically his first full-time season as an Elite Cup Series driver, and then stepping really into the spotlight here this second season, winning the Daytona 500 to start everything off, grabbing a second win here. So back-to-back seasons where he's won multiple races. Not a lot of drivers can say that here in the Elite Racing Leagues. And yeah, here he is leading the way at Twin Ring Motegi. Could he grab a 3rd win on the season? That would really put him in some elite company of drivers who've been able to win 3 in the span of just 1 short season.
Wow, how things can change here. As we take a look from high above, wow, you can really see just how wide this racetrack is, and really no lanes in order to markings to really keep cars or drivers comfortable on entrance and exit in the corner. You see the 40 car dive down low, protect that second position there, and that's actually the best we've seen of that second starter during a restart, be able to keep that position there. Normally they're on the outside struggling for help. The 02 car though, gonna try and take the 31 on the outside. They're still side by side. You see the 31 car come back with a little bit of a side draft. He'll end in the corner there lower than the 02. Just behind him, you see the 95 of Joshua Adams. As one competitor actually went down pit road right there. Didn't know who that was. But
Cody Harrington looks like he's rolling on pit road. He's a number of laps down, though.
Hard to believe this, but only 40 laps to go here. Definitely inside the fuel window here. This race is winding down. It's a slower mile-and-a-half track here, Rashad, but with the pace that we're seeing, despite that being our 5th yellow flag, this race has been a very quick race. Scott Crook to the outside of Jared Rexing in turn 4.
So far it has been, yeah. We'll see, but right now just an hour into it, or hour 15 into it, we're getting closer. Just ticked over to lap 90 of 129. I always feel like once you hit that triple digits, the last laps after that kind of go by a little bit quicker. But getting up there to lap 100 sometimes can be a bit of a slog, especially with some of those cautions we had in the middle there. Hoping we're going to see a little bit of a longer run here that we saw this last time around. I think, again, guys getting a chance to just spread out a little bit here, side by side, though, between Jared Rexing and Josh Adams. We still see some two-wide battles going throughout the field. But, again, guys have a lot of room to work with, and they have a lot of room to give to each other in terms of actually going out and battling with one another. Gerald Campbell on that last lap sets the fastest lap of the race, fastest speed of the race tonight, 36.77 seconds. About 100th of a second faster than what the next fastest lap is tonight. But look out for that 31 car right now, sitting in the 4th position, holding off Shane Terrian as Chad Thornquist looks to the inside of Tyler Foley.
Oh, yellow flag number 6 is out, though. Just as we were talking about the pace of this car, it looks like it might have been a big one. Is it for that 37? It is. He bounces into the outside wall, and then he goes flying around. Car catches on the wall there, pirouettes, and comes to a stop. Looks like it's a single car incident there, but man, oh man, a good day gone bad, gone worse in a matter of laps for the 37 car. Had a little bit of help from the 33 of Daniel Martinez, but no fault of his own. 37 car had lost the momentum after striking the wall on the exit at turn 2.
Yeah, there's not much that can be done there. Let's take a look here. Ethan Burrell, he's already kind of lost that there. So we can actually grab a little bit of a better view of that on the Whiskey Cast replay here. Take a look here.
Replay, because drivers sometimes these views just make drivers want to drink after this. That's going to be one.
Yeah,
I believe the 37 car is going to win.
Yeah, it's one of those incidents where I think he was just tight through the corner, or just that wall came up on him a little bit too quickly. And for Ethan Burrell, he just made contact there, went around, see if anybody. Ooh, Rexing making a very late call to come out of. Back out of pit road. He kind of dove down and then decided against it. Normally, Elite doesn't love to see that kind of behavior from drivers, but didn't make contact, or I don't think anybody had to check up. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that from Jared Rexing. But yeah, he faked to the faked to pit road, but then came back out onto the racetrack.
I want to talk about how kind of the track position and strategy flipped about this race here, yourself, because I believe that is the cue into why we're seeing. We see Jesse Rasmus get a lap back here. The 48, the 40, and the 02 back up front. These guys had elected to stay out during, I believe, caution flag number 5, and then because of the other caution flags, they were able to be reset with the drivers who had pitted underneath that subsequent flag. And now they were able to inherit that track position without ever relinquishing it. So that's allowed that 48 car, that 40, that 02. They stayed on top of their track position all because of staying out that one caution flag. That has dramatically switched the leaders of this race. Matthew Weeks has not been able to rebound since then.
Yeah, track position is important. I mean, we've seen here, guys can run side by side, but to make the actual pass is really difficult. You have to kind of stay on that guy and maintain pace for really the entire lap, if not more. So to just line yourself up, make that pass, it does take a lot of effort. So guys really have to work for it if they don't have that significant pace advantage. And that's probably what you're seeing here. So track position does become important. I'm sure, given enough laps, Matthew Weeks could find his way back towards the front. But the problem is that we just don't have enough laps. And right now that gamble would have worked, if we had stayed maybe going under caution for a while and that kept flipping. But then we had that long green flag run, and while they had fresher tires, it kind of neutralized the field, because once that caution came after that, everybody had to come down pit road because you'd done about 15 to 20 laps, on tires.
That is the age-old question a crew chief has to answer. When do you go down pit road? When do you not? It's worked out for half the top 5. It didn't work out for the bottom half, and we'll see how it all comes to a fruition here later on with about 35 laps here to go. I think we are one more lap, so we'll step away here just real quick. Gotta get some water, give you guys enough action here, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Cleaning up caution, number 6 of the night for the memory lanes 200 here at Twin Ring Motegi. So glad you could join us here for tonight's day race, 80 miles away from Japan. Nick Massey in control of the field. He's back on the loud pedal there. Tyler Foley doesn't get the good jump he had last restart. That's going to allow the 0-2 of Chad Thornquist to the bottom of the racetrack. That's a side-by-side battle. And Scott Crump with an issue entering turn 1. Can he hang on? That 90 car stepped out in a big way, and he'll lose a ton of positions as we get back up to green.
Oh, we have a car inside. Matthew Weeks just scrapes the inside wall.
My goodness, cars flying out of the pocket here as we get to about 35 left to go. Here goes Gerald Campbell around. He's going to collect another competitor. The 31 car is around at turn number 4. He goes down pit road. No,
we're still green.
He misses the butt end of that green, or that pit wall there, and we stay green.
And as that was happening, Chad Thornquist, who brought out the first caution of the night, took the lead from Nick Massey, who's now back in 4th. It's all happening.
3 heavyweights, all with an issue on that lap. Wow, goodness, get a chance to catch our breath here. Didn't think that restart was going to go the way it did. But Chad Thornquist, after, yes, spinning early, is now in contention to try and possibly win this thing. How about that? Don't know exactly what happened with the 48 car. His teammates been able to get around him. All the drivers that had an issue the previous lap have been able to drive away. So Matthew Weeks, we saw Gerald Campbell, who has lost a ton of track position, and then Scott Crump as well. He's marked back here. I'm trying to look at the running order. He's in the 23rd position. But definitely guys we thought would be contenders at the end of this race, all having an issue. Matthew Weeks has been able to rebound there. He only lost a couple of positions there, but he's back in the 12th position.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This
yeah, that was the lap to call there, Rashad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm staggered that restart went that way. It's yeah, like you can't follow all those things with one camera, man. I need multiple cameras. Jeez.
Excuse me, and the next time you guys decide to do that, I'll be in one camera angle. We appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, with all that, the kind of dust settles from that restart here as we tick over to lap 100. Chad Thornquist, Tyler Foley leading the way. Foley just sets the fastest lap of the race now. Shane Terrian now up in here ahead of teammate Nick Massey. Remember, Terrian pushed Nick Massey to that Daytona 500 win, so you know we'll see. It's early days, I think, heading towards the end of this one, but could there be some teamwork there? Favor return from Nick Massey to Shane Terrian. Then you have Josh Adams there in the top 5. So some of these guys you're more familiar with, but yeah, Gerald Campbell falling out of it, as you know, Matthew Weeks with that massive issue to the inside, Scott Crump right on the restart having an issue, Hunter Smith is around.
Oh,
there's
and
contact.
there they go. Zach Evans off the racing surface there. He still stay under the green.
Oh,
now the yellow flag comes out. That was a big wreck.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So I think
that lasted a long time.
It was, yeah, I was going to say, I saw Hunter Smith kind of falling through the order for a little bit there, and I was kind of confused. But man, that all took place over a long period of time here. Let's take a look here. Well, so watch.
I have to wonder, Zach Evans, he wasn't on the racing surface, but yes, Hunter Smith hits the wall. So this is out of turn 2.
Yeah. So heading into 3, you have Smith and Dewar next to each other. Smith just comes down into Dewar, it kind of looks like there, at least from that angle. Then hits Evans. Oh, actually, really good job by.
Fully goes around.
Wow.
Good
was that
handling.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
We got to watch that on board.
Also the
Michael Hossack.
And the 14. I mean, he never fully went around there. Zach Evans was a victim right there. I don't know if the 32 car went up though, or the 14 came down as we ride on board with the 24 here.
Let's take a look here.
So this is never fun.
Yeah, you watch this and you're thinking, man, I was having a solid race here tonight, and look at that. Beautifully parts the sea between those two. Michael Hossack survives. Say,
looks like the 14 was issued a tally there. And I was going to say, I believe the 14 did come down on the 32. I don't think the 32 washed up right there.
Yeah, let's see.
But the 14, he had already been damaged. He'd already hit the wall on the exit of turn 2, so that car not going to handle great.
Let's see. That's
here it is, high out of the blimp.
Yeah.
Yes, he just gets loose, and he was chasing it all the way to the 32.
Yeah.
24 car doing a great job parting the seas.
And there it is, 14 car on pit road there. Obviously has some damage to repair. Meanwhile, up front, it's still going to be Thornquist, Terrian, Massey, Adams, Rexing, your top 5. Then Frankenfield back in it there in 6th position. Where have we seen this before? Chad Frankenfield back up into contention with under 30 laps to go. David Tooker, Josh Clark, Trevor Elam, and Andrew Rucker making up your top 10. Haven't talked much about Andrew Rucker at all tonight. He's kind of had a pretty quiet race there, up around the 10th to 15th positions all night so far. But right now inside the top 10, seeing if he can move forward. Has had some solid pace here, but looking maybe to find a little bit more to compete with these guys on the next restart.
Yeah, Frankenfield inside the top 10. You know, this just, to me, I'm going to start a conspiracy theory. I don't believe the 15 or the 90 can be inside the top 10 at the same time. I think one car has to be out of it there. It just seems like no matter what, if we're talking good about one driver, the other one is suddenly saving it out of turn 2 or turn 4 there, unfortunately. That just seems to be the running theme out of that team as of late. Whoa, Brasov. The counter has ticked down to the 26 laps to go. It's that moment. It's that moment of the race where we have to decide who do we like here and who do you curse?
Oh, man. I don't... I had the curse last week, so I feel like it's got to go back to you this week, right? So I feel like I have some, some freedom to pick whoever I want here, right? I'm gonna convince myself here. We'll see.
I'm gonna let you think that.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Thornquist is obviously had that move to go up front and seemed to be staying there. Will he stay there? Obviously made a couple of mistakes earlier in the race. Can he stay consistent? Shane Terrian has had a really solid race. He's just kind of quietly worked his way up the order. I really like that 83 car. It's got to be one of those Sky Motorsports cars, honestly, between Terrien and Massey. I'm going to pick Terrien. I think Nick Massey's going to repay the favor for Daytona tonight. 7 weeks later, after that first night there at the 500, and Massey is going to help his teammate Shane Terrien drive up to his first win of the season.
Well, just before that, when the 0-2 taking the lead there, we haven't seen that 0-2 out front. And of course, bringing out our first yellow flag of the night, I don't think anybody after that really had him back up front, but he's been able to rebound that, has driven a really good race since then, has had to pass everybody to get back up to the point. So that 0-2 car, I think he's going to be hard to beat, especially now that we're seeing some of his closest competitors, like the 11 car, not be as close to him as they once were. I think that 48 car might give him hell, but I'm going to have to go with that 0-2. That 0-2 has been so strong as of late. Have to factor back in at Watkins Glen, was a contender there. Had a decent car at Nashville as well before a late race issue. And then also last week at Dover. So I think Thornquist is just knocking on the door of a win here, and it could happen here tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll find out here. 25 laps to go. We'll take to 24 laps to go when the green flag waves. And yeah, like you say, Alex, when that ticker switches over, we know we've really hit crunch time in this race, and things are about to potentially get a little bit crazy as we try to finish this one off here. The Memory Lanes 200 at Twin Ring Motegi.
Glad you guys could join us here tonight for some overseas action, and it has been nothing but action here tonight. Starting with lap number 1, pace car gonna duck for cover here. Field once again going to race into turn number 1 at speed. 0-2, he'll cut across, he'll actually go to the outside, get a better entry entering turn number 1, allows those teammate cars to be side by side for second.
Yeah, we'll see who gets the nose ahead here as they stay side by side. Shane Terrien should have the run coming off of 2, and Massey slots in behind his teammate there, protects that line protects himself from losing spot to Jared Rexing there. Josh Adams now diving it deep into 3 and 4, going to go way up high on the racetrack. Can he get a good enough run off the corner? Is he going to lose some spots here? Looks like he might lose one to, he definitely lost it to Rexing there. Could he lose one to Tooker as well now on the inside? David Tooker, again, haven't talked too much about him tonight, but that 19 car now up inside, or at least challenging for a spot inside that top 5.
And how about our pole sitter there, Trevor Elam, the 29 car, had that end-of-line penalty a couple of restarts ago. Been able to rebound there pretty quickly as we see some commotion deep in this field. That's R.C. Anderson and Tyler Foley discussing some real estate there as the yellow flag is back out. Cautions, 3 cautions. Number 8 of the night. Gerald Campbell.
Ooh. Oh! Hard hit for the 31 car.
That was right in front of what we saw the commotion there with the 50 and the 40 car. Gerald Campbell back from a hiatus there, and then Michael Hossack has to avoid every spinning car, it seems, as of late.
Yeah, unfortunately, he made contact on that one, but he was it was interesting because that spin was almost in response to Tyler Fode just in front of him there. If we take a look there, Fode gets loose. He's able to save it, but then right behind him, that's where the 31 then of Gerald Campbell spins around. So both of them kind of get loose at that same moment. We'll take one more look here at the replay.
Had a good run here today, led some laps, definitely let us know he was there, but didn't have a chance to save that race car. Gets hooked on the front bumper of the 24 Hossack, and then around he goes. Heavy hit.
Yeah,
rear end clip of that car gonna need some attention on pit road there.
Yeah, not been Gerald Campbell's year, that's for sure. It's unfortunate to see because when things do go his way, he is a championship contender. He's a race win contender, but yeah, just man, that's a tough one there. Struggling to get to grips with this next gen car, and that's back-to-back seasons now with the next gen car where he's been struggling a little bit for the 2-time Cup Series champion. Hope to see him kind of work things out, both in terms of luck and in terms of just getting a little bit of a grip on the car and figuring things out here as we get down towards the end of this regular season especially. Would love to see him back in contention for a championship come 2022B.
Erasmus's going to get another lap back here. I believe that might place him back on the lead lap. You know, interestingly enough, I just a couple, I think days ago, just saw at Atlanta, so not this past weekend, but 2 weeks ago, that the 100th Free Pass Award was given to David Reagan in the 15 car. Don't know if that is a stat that you might want to have read out there. Didn't know that was one that was even kept track of, but it was just funny to me that the 100th Free Pass to a driver was given out there. Only 2 drivers have received 100 free passes in the Cup Series event: David Reagan and Ryan Newman. Take that information with what you will.
Interesting. That is, yeah. Fun little fact there.
Fun fact for you. I'll be here all night, folks. Just ask away for anything else.
I was gonna say nothing I could come up with would stump you, and you've got all these little trivia tidbits that I'd never be able to figure out.
Yeah, it's just I need a life there, Rashad. That's what it is.
I think you did this to yourself when you went off to work for NASCAR as well. Didn't help your situation.
That's totally true. I found a way somehow though to get paid to watch cars. I was already doing that for free, so that is the life. That's the best
dream.
thing.
Absolutely.
That is. But yeah, now I just have this useless information of which that's why I'm here, so that I can at least share it with you somewhat. I have a reason. Otherwise, who else would know that, Rasav? I just have this by myself. All right, so 20 laps to go here. Memory Lane's 200. Definitely been a memorable one here so far. Walking through some of the big storylines. As of late the 02, we had our biggest green flag run to start the season here, about 62 miles. 41 laps before that car that's leading brought out our first caution flag of the night. So you can actually put it all on him for setting this caution in motion, but perhaps he was the control of his own destiny right there. Maybe it was all going according to plan. I don't know. It'll be something to ask him later on.
It seemed to work out for him, that's for sure. It's no, I mean this season's been really interesting because you've had guys who've had issues early on in the race, and they've rebounded to come back and win these races, and we've seen that at a lot of events this season. So this is just another example of that, again, just goes to show that the guys who are stronger, I think, are finding their way up to the front. There's options to find track position on strategy, all that kind of stuff, and it's working out. So so you're seeing, guys who I think who qualified well, who have pace in their car, will always find their way to the front no matter kind of what happens earlier on in the race.
Drivers that are having some good runs here so far that need to close out the deal. At Frankenfield, he's one of those drivers there. He's been able to start race inside the top, has not been able to find himself inside the top 5 toward the end. I think he only has one top 5 this season here. But Trevor Elam, just to his inside, he's also in desperate need of a top 10 here today. And then Jared Rexing, already talked about him there with the lone 4th place finish at Michigan early this season. It has been a season to forget for that 10 car running part-time here tonight.
Yeah, it has. There's a lot of talent in this field, and unfortunately only a certain number of drivers can win races in one given season, and especially when guys start to double up like Bowden and Massey did, you get fewer opportunities. So everybody right here desperate for a win here, and the top 3 all are winless this season, all looking to grab their first one. Then, of course, you have Massey and Tooker, who both won, but then Adams, Elam, Frankenfield all have not won a race either.
Like the position that the 02 puts himself there on this restart. Now the second time you've seen him actually cut to the outside. He gets a jump, cuts to the outside, able to attack the corner there. Better from that lane as Jared Rexing way up the racetrack into no man's land. And he is going to lose a ton of positions there. Can he merge back successfully? He does. everybody's able to get around him there, but what was a top 5 run for that 10 car now, barely hanging on to the top 10.
Yeah, unfortunate to see that there for Rexing. That's, again, just we've seen that a couple of times from guys just diving it in a little bit too deep into turn 3. You kind of forget because, you know, they are so different ends of the racetrack. You've got so much more speed that you can carry in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 so much tighter out on the racetrack. Can sometimes lose that braking point, as you see here. Now, David Tooker, Trevor Elam both going pretty high up on the racetrack as the
yellow
the caution out.
Yep. So darn, we're not getting what we hope to see, some green flag racing to end this. Let's take a look and see. Alex Valvance catches the 44 of Michael Goodman. It would not be a complete race without the 44 car getting involved in someone else's mess.
Yeah.
No fault of his own. Now we've had, we can begin to start to a JoinAPS.com Cup Series event. We can pretty much tell you drivers that are not going to be having good days because they're involved in another competitor's crash, the 44 and the 91.
It sucks for
that. That does suck.
I mean, just because he's in the chase. I mean, he's been consistent with his points right now. He's in the chase. He's in that tight battle, but he's there. I mean, and these past 2 weeks have just been brutal for that 44 car. Dustin Durer also involved in that one. He got caught up at the end of that incident. We'll see here. There's that 5 car and just has to dive to the inside. Unfortunately, hits the inside wall there for Dusty. But man, oh man, they're two good cars. Both, in fact, the 2 namesakes of the team, Dustin Durer, Michael Goodman. It's their team there, and both of them taken out in that incident. Hate to see it for them, but man, those wrecks, when those cars snap, there's really nothing you can do in terms of reacting to where that driver is going to go.
And with the yellows now coming out kind of continuously here, it's not allowing any of these guys up front a chance to really challenge and get all the positions they can, with yellows coming out, that one being our 9th yellow flag of the night there. After 1 lap of green flag racing, we are winding down the time it takes to try and get some of the track position. So not only that, as one of these competitors, you've got to feel frustrated by the constant yellow flag coming out by guys in the back of the pack there. I know that's always an annoying feeling there for myself on console racing there. You kind of want to get a green flag run to establish what you can with your race car there, and unfortunately, we're not getting that shot here tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. For the most part, we've been able to end out races pretty well with some good racing. But today, just been a few too many cautions. After some long runs, we've had 2 solid length runs. Of course, the really long one to start out the race, and then we had probably a 20 to 25 lap run, I think, in the middle there as well. So we've had that. It hasn't been a ton of cautions in that respect, but yeah, it's unfortunate once guys get again grouped together a little bit. That sometimes the racing does get a little bit close. I think this track has been better for us. And a lot of the times these incidents have just been guys sliding up the racetrack or that kind of stuff that's had issues. There really hasn't been a ton of car-to-car contact that brings out cautions. There's the Hunter Smith incident, but that was kind of it. Most of the time it was a driver losing it, and then someone kind of else getting caught up in that driver losing it. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but hopefully we can maybe stay green to the end here, get maybe 10 laps of green flag running to the checkers.
I believe we're also done perhaps seeing these guys go down pit road there, Rashad. I don't believe with as few laps remaining that these guys go back for service here. Tires not going to really play that much of a factor toward the end of this one now.
Yeah, I don't think so. Everybody's basically on that same tire strategy. Scott Crump down in 13th position is actually on a fresher set of tires here. So are RC Anderson and Tyler Foley. Those guys we saw obviously fall down the order on one of those earlier restarts, and that's kind of led to them maybe picking a little bit of an alternate strategy. But I mean, we've seen it's really track position now. Track position is the number one thing you need to have this late in the race. Tires will only do you so much. So yeah, I think your winner is going to come from one of these guys who did stay out, who didn't come down on lap 102 or lap 108 or even lap 114, this most recent caution. it's going to be one of these guys who haven't pitted since lap 84.
Drivers we have not mentioned here tonight. How about the run made by Andrew Rucker in the 12th position? He's doing a good job. Has kept that 64 car. And Jeff Green, haven't talked much about him here tonight as well. These guys are just outside of the top 10. Daniel Martinez as well in that 33 car. He was the person that got into the back of Ethan Burrell a couple of caution flags ago there. The exception of that, see a little bit of front end damage right there. He's also had a pretty clean race there. Want to take a look and see. I believe we've gotten everybody's name mentioned at least one time here. Still within the race, about 23 cars on the lead lap. With 13 laps, make it 12 to go next time by.
So we'll try this all again. Chad Thornquist, Shane Tarian on the front row together. This time around, actually, I'm not sure if it's just specifically this time around or if it's always been that way, but no, it has always been that way where the 48 and 83 are not lined up together. Don't know why I was forgetting that there, but yeah, teammates, those guys will have to find each other or fight each other there for position, but we're getting back to green flag racing here, and Chad Thornquist is going to lead this field back to green, 12 to go.
83 did not get going at all. The 02 just fires off once again. Gets that perfect position there to try and solidify a great run in front of those teammates there, battling hard for second place. The 48 car on the inside, the 83 on the outside. They are bottlenecked the rest of the field behind them. The 02 is loving this as the team cars try to discuss who's going to be in second place. Looks like the 83 car will be able to, as the 95 loses the nose and travels up the racetrack. They're 3 wide out of turn 4. Trevor Elam in the middle. Oh, car on the wall. Scott Crump.
Yeah, Scott Crump grabbed the wall.
To get around him.
Yeah, slow there on the front straightaway. So Crump, unfortunately, there wasn't able to work his way forward and kind of get back into this race here.
Somebody very loose in front of these guys. It was the 15 of Chad Frankenfield. Oh, talk about team lap killers as of late. If your teammate has an issue, you better be looking at your car suddenly as well.
Yeah, up front now, Tarian right on the bumper of the 02 car. He's caught up after that great restart from Chad Thornquist. That 83 looking strong right now. Seeing if he can maybe set himself up to make a move. David Tooker just sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Running in P4 right now. Again, he's kind of been there or thereabouts, but hasn't been much of a lead contender as he loses it coming off of turn 2. But holds it pointed in the right direction. Great car control there from David Tooker.
2 sets of teammates inside the top 5 right now. As the caution flag is out, number 10. You can tell it's getting down to crunch time here. This one is going to involve the 81.
Nope,
somebody's loose in front of him. That's R.C. Anderson. Excuse us, yeah.
Had to see what we could find there. It was R.C. Anderson. And let's see what we can find with that 50 car and who he makes contact with. It looks like it starts way early. This is a slow burning incident here for RC. Side by side with Trevor Elam.
Yes, gets loose there in front of Daniel Martinez, who tries to allow that car to save it. In fact, he misses it. He never goes fully around there until right there, he and Hossack bump wheels. Now the car out of control there, and you're right, that was a slow-burning incident there. But went around there. That incident started on the front stretch, and it ended on the back stretch.
Absolutely. We'll see this all from R.C. Anderson's point of view as well. But yeah, this all kind of takes place really quick. And I think as we're watching this, we'll keep you guys updated, but I believe we've got some pit stops taking place a little bit deeper in the field here. No, never mind. Guys just made that call temporarily, so everybody's still staying out on the racetrack. But here's the onboard here with the replay. So definitely contact there with the 29 car of Elam. Kind of loses it from there, holds on.
Once the car's on the apron, they're kind of uneven. You still have the baking of the racetrack there versus the flatness of the apron. The car's just not going to handle very well, and he did all but
just
Correct. He
couldn't get
tried
the
to save
power
it.
down.
This is a competitor that knows how to do this in real life. So that just shows you how difficult that is.
Yeah, that's
Another white
kind of
lightning
crazy.
car.
Watching that all happen, I mean, you've got to just imagine just wasn't able to get grip on those rear tires for RC, and man, oh man, that was a racing incident. So yeah, my guess is there looked like there was contact. Trying to remember who that
There
was.
did look like, but it looked like the 50 and the 29. It was Trevor Elam there, but I mean, you have a car on the outside. Even with a little bit of banking there, that car on the inside is going to naturally want to get a little bit loose with the way the air goes around these cars. There's just no side force for that guy on the inside to lean on.
Yeah. Trying to see if there's maybe a better idea as to what we can see. Maybe a different camera angle can show us here with RC Anderson. So there's that side-by-side, that initial contact that gets the 50 car loose. I wonder if that's what they're calling the racing deal and just saying after that, RC, this was all just a result of that. There's also, no, I mean, that's the 50 car going up into the 24. Yeah, it's got to be that 29.
Yeah, because I was going to say, by that time, I don't think he was trying to rub the 50. I think he was still trying to get in control of his car. And there's his other teammate. I mean, that was a bad lap for all the White Lightning there.
Oh God, yeah. You had Frankenfield losing it. You had Scott Crump almost getting into RC there. Yeah, I mean
And Crump had hit the wall. Remember that earlier before Frankenfield losing it. So that was just a terrible lap for White Lightning.
Yeah. Well, so the reason it's a racing incident is apparently netcode there as the initial cause. So that sent RC Anderson around. That was the reasoning there. So it makes a little bit more sense there as to why it wasn't a tally on the 50 car. Netcode there causing that whole incident.
Well, our drivers are still in it.
they are.
We still have 3 attempts at a green-white checker to perhaps battle. What is this 83 car? What does he have to do to respond to that 02 car? I believe he has to have a just as good of a restart there. He needs to fire off immediately with that 02. I think he's waiting too long. You have the benefit of your teammate to be right behind you there can slot you in, but I think right now we saw that 83 car get to the back bumper of the 02. What can he do if he's already there as we get double up with 1 to go? 5 laps remaining under green.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this at Dover too. Remember where the driver starting in second just wasn't able to get as much of an advantage, and that's part of having that first position on the restarts is just the huge advantage you get from being able to time it your own way. I mean, not much that you can kind of do if you are Shane Terrian. You can just respond a little bit faster, but it's all based down on your ability to actually react, and even then you're still reacting to what the leader does. It's kind of impossible to preempt the leader going. So the best he can do is just react as quickly as possible and set himself up so that within 1 or 2 laps he's ready to make a move.
All right, well, these questions are all going to be answered here in less than 10 miles. I believe it's 5 laps. That'll actually be 7.5 miles there. Look at me doing some math. The L2 chat third quest there. Trying to get his first win of the season. Both these guys on the front row looking for their first win of the season. Both guys in second looking for their second and third win of the season there. Nick Massey's already been to victory lane twice. Chad Thornquist back once again on the loud pedal. He gets out to a stellar lead in front of the 83. Does he switch to the top of the racetrack? He does, blocking that advance, and now back to the bottom of the racetrack, leaving teammates side by side once again for second.
Yeah, the problem right there as well is Terrian not able to go to the bottom there, and I think get that ideal racing line. Is Tooker into the wall.
David Tooker into the wall in front of Trevor Elam, and it's going to be collecting multiple cars. Daniel Martinez involved. Alexander Gray goes for a slide. Caution flag is out.
Yeah, Daniel Martinez, Ethan Burrell, all of these guys going around. It all starts with David Tooker. There's that incident that we actually see a little bit later there with Burrell. But man, we're gonna have to break this down here on the WhiskeyCast replay because that is a big one there. The 19 car losing it, coming off of turn number 2. Again, turn number 2 just being that deathly corner, I think, for all these drivers here.
And for the second week in a row, taking out the 19 car. This happened to him at Dover there last week.
So here it goes. There's that quick snap into the outside wall. Not much you can do there. 95 able to get around that, I think, for the most part. And now for these guys, it's how well can you split the C? It doesn't look like the 29 can do much. He has to run into the back of the 19. 33 gets involved in that.
Chad Frankenfield able to
Chad's
get
going to have
that.
a great view. Yeah. Man,
Jeff
oh man.
Green
He gets caught up.
Hit in the rear. He'll go for a slide. Alexander Gray, he was a late addition to this one. Daniel Martinez, another hard impact there. And Alexander Gray, yes, he catches the back end of the 37 car, and he'll go for a slide before impacting the inside wall as well. So at least 6 cars involved by my count in that melee on the backstretch. David Tooker, for the second week in a row, having a strong run, all go for naught in the closing laps of a race.
Man, and there's the damage to that number 19 car. You can see it there. David Tooker, who was having such a great run, it's all over for him. Whew. Let's see. Yeah, let's go back to that Chad Frankenfield replay. I think that's going to be something else to watch, I think.
The way these races play out here, you need to be out front before the yellow flag begins to be making itself at home, because we have not had consecutive green flag laps as of late here since really lap 94 on the board. Take a look as we ride on board with Chad Frankenfield. Something going right for White Lightning Racing this time around.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't even know if we'll be able to see the David Tooker incident. It's kind of hidden there. There you start to see guys moving around, and whew,
Trevor Elam,
29 car goes around.
You talked about him needing a good day here tonight. It's not going to happen. He's still in the 10th position, but a lot of front-end nose damage done. I don't know if he'll be able to nurse that one to a top 10.
Yeah, that one's pretty rough out there on that 29 car, as we're going to get our first green-white checker of the night. To start three attempts at it, and I think we should be able to get it on the first try. But man, it's been a rough finish to this great race, I think, so far.
Overtime here to the memory lanes 200. We get side by side. The 83, he's had 3 separate occasions to try and figure out what to do with that 02 car, has been unable to really keep pace with him on the drop of the green flag for restart. He and his teammate there are going to have perhaps only one final shot. They'll have at least 3 attempts at it, but we know for sure at least one final shot to try and get around that 02 who has been so strong here as of late. Quick question for you there, Rashav, who was the driver who was able to do a spin in your win on a new track.
Spin
and then win.
Was this recent?
No, this is way late. I'll give you a hint. It's that 29 car.
Harvick?
Harvick did it back at Chicagoland at a racetrack there.
All right.
He won early, and then he went on to win the race there. So
I'm not gonna lie, Harvick's the only guy I knew who ever drove the 29 car, so that helped a lot.
That's what gave me what do you call it? That's what made me think of that there.
Yeah.
He brought the term spin and win because of that move. So Chicagoland 2002.
Yeah, well, Chad Thornquist could manage that here, especially now on a green-white checker. You really have to favor your chances if you're the leading car, right? I mean, he's got that advantage off of the restart. Theoretically, that gives him about a 1-lap buffer to P2. And yeah, that should mean that Shane Terrian only has 1 lap realistically to attack the 02 car, assuming Terrian gets a good start.
I mean, that's just something we've not seen out of that 83 car year as of late. At that second place finish at Daytona, pushing his teammate Nick Massey to the win, looking to try and get a win of his own in this series. Woo! Well, we got half a lap to hold your breath there, folks. It's been a good one so far. 11 caution flags here. Going green just under 2 hours. And it all comes down to this. Pace car about to duck back down low. Chad Thornquist and the 83 going to settle it out here in Japan. Green flag is back out. Can the 83 maintain the pace? This time he does so with the 02 car doing a great job on the inside as they're side by side in return one.
Yeah, good restart this time by Shane Tarian, but he's still on that outside lane. He's got to get that nose down to the inside. He does, ahead of teammate Nick Massey, and now he's got to start accelerating, pushing forward to try and get by that 02 car. Everybody, chaos going on behind here. Rexing and Foley going side by side here, but back up front, it's now Matthew Weeks to the inside of Nick Massey.
And now Matthew Weeks corner.
Look at that.
Matthew Weeks now going to get up to second place. They'll face the white flag this time by 1 lap to go here at Twin Ring Motegi. Can the 02 Chad Thornquist get his first win of the season? Does the 11 car catch him and pass him?
Right now, good turns 1 and 2 for Chad Thornquist here. Matthew Weeks, they're not on a different tire strategy. Weeks goes around! Weeks goes around, he loses it coming off of turn number 2, and it's clean air now for Chad Thornquist.
Final set of corners for the 02. A mistake made by the 11 and the 83 is going to allow that 02 to drive away. The Twin Ring Motegi belongs to Thornquist in that 02. He wins the Memory Lanes 200.
How about that, Chad Thornquist in that 02? Spin and win. There you go, Alex. You called it.
Exactly. Just like that. Homage to a term made 20 years ago. Made popular by Kevin Harvick, the 02 car. Bringing out our first yellow flag. He was the first to the yellow flag. He was also the first one to the checkered.
A little bit of bumps there from Shane Tarian, who ended up P4, unfortunately, at the end of it there. Just kind of had to check up a little bit there for the Matthew Weeks incident. Some support there from Bronson Stafford in the 61 as well. But your top 3, Chad Thornquist, Nick Massey, and Jared Rexing actually coming back at it to grab a third place finish there. All kinds of chaos going on there. 4th was Shane Tarian, and then 5th Tyler Fody back in it as well. So Fody managing to come back for a 5th place finish after he was, I thought he was outside of the top 10 before that last caution. So craziness going on for these guys.
Yeah, some good runs there. Chad Frickenfield still coming back for 9th. Jeff Green in 10th. Trevor Elon, not the top 10, but still his best position of the season in 12th. That best 15th from a couple of weeks ago. Trying to look to see where did Matthew Weeks end up there. He was 2nd on that last lap, kind of pulling the AJ Allmendinger there. I don't even see him inside the top 23 there after that. There he is in the 21st position. But this is going to be a popular win there by Chad Thornquist, doing a great job. Look at that burnout. He'll come sliding in to a halt. We are about to bring him in.
Definitely,
along with Nick Massey and Jared Rexing. The first time we'll be able to talk to him all season long.
Absolutely there. Yeah, Thornquist has kind of been knocking on the door. You mentioned it earlier tonight, knocking on the door for wins. Came into this race 3rd in the points. Pulls off that victory coming off of 2 podiums as well earlier this season. So definitely well earned there for Chad Thornquist. Very much one of those championship favorites going at it right now. And he's going to grab that race win.
And going back to that spin that he had there, Rashad, there, that quick jerk he made to ensure that car didn't hit the wall. The car control, the mindset of a driver, you're always driving it, that you never give up when you find yourself in trouble, and that shows why he was able to save that race car. He saved it enough to put it in victory lane.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're kind of focused on just keeping that thing pointed in the right direction at all moments. So yeah, I mean that's really big, and we can even talk to him about that right now because we're going to be joined by race winner here, Chad Thornquist. Hey driver, congratulations, man! You're race winner here at Twin Ring Motegi Memory Lanes 200.
I finally got one for you. Oh my God!
Hey, he didn't pick you though. I did. I just want to
That's
say
true.
that.
That's
Put
true.
You
it out
picked
there.
me?
He did not pick
What?
you. Yep. Go back and look at the forecast.
I didn't want to jinx you,
or the-
man. I didn't want to jinx you, man. That's nothing against Shane, by the way, if you're listening.
Oh,
I got my own
I just
stake in
wanna-
this one, Thornquist.
oh man.
Put that there, but carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that interview there. Go
Oh.
back.
Dude, wow, what a race. I knew I had one of the better cars in the field after I did testing earlier today, but I was struggling in 3 and 4 in practice because I was downshifting into 3rd, and I did that in the beginning of the race, and then I started trying to go into 4th and not try and do a double downshift, and it was a lot smoother. And then pit strategy, Foley, seeing him go in around like lap 50 or so, that kind of inclined me to pit, and then from there I just kind of made my own moves.
Well, catch your breath there. There sounds like you need it there after a surprising but well fought win. Excuse me. I also wanted to talk to you about the first yellow flag. You are our first yellow flag. Unfortunately, it stopped what was our biggest green flag run of the season. But you had a moment in the race car that I went back and analyzed there. You were able to jerk that race car just a little bit to make sure that you did not hit the outside wall. Just talk about the car control you had right there and how that really saved you from having an opportunity and now driving it to victory lane here tonight.
Yeah, once I had that spin, I didn't really think I was gonna have a shot to go for the win after that. I just wanted to try and regroup, get a solid top 10 finish, and come out with a solid points day. But then as time went on, I started making up positions on restarts quite easily on the fresher tires, and I just kept moving forward. And then on the restart, me and Massey I got a really good jump on him, and he said he got loose in 3 and 4 when I went for the late braking on the inside, and from there I held on to the lead and somehow won.
All right, man.
But-
Well, I mean, what an incredible race, wasn't it? I mean, yeah, coming back from that spin, those cautions definitely must have made you a little bit nervous there on those restarts. Just talk us through those final couple of restarts, only getting a few laps, but still managing to jump Shane Terrian on each of those. And were you ever nervous when we kept having caution, that it might slip away from you?
I honestly thought I was gonna have a harder time on the restarts when we were getting more cautions, but then the later they came and they came in faster, it kind of reset my mind into thinking they're not my enemy, they're my friend right now since I'm leading. And then the last one, that was the worst restart I had, and Shane timed it really well, but I sent it down at 1 and didn't look back.
All right, man. Well, congratulations. You definitely have had the momentum there moving forward there now. Knocking on your first win of the season, you getting it done. Want to give you the chance to thank anybody and anything you'd like here on air.
Shout out to the team owner again. Ooh, that feels so good to get that off my hands. Shout out to Vic Bloom for making a great paint scheme. Shout out to Oska for sponsoring me. Same for 213 Simware. Shout out to the FRN guys for racing me so clean. Shout out to you, Alex, and Huckleberry as well for productions. Couldn't have these streams without you. Shout out to Frankenfield for putting this series on, and that's all I got. I'm not old enough, but I'm probably gonna go drink a beer. My birthday is Saturday.
Hey, congratulations, man. You've definitely earned it.
Yep, thank you.
All right, race winner there, Chad Thornquist. Going to go out and celebrate this win here. He is legal in Japan, I believe, so there you go.
It is. It is. There you go. We won't tell. We won't
Yeah.
look the eyes. This isn't seen by people.
Oh, man. We'll bring in P2 finisher then, Nick Massey. Nick, so close there this time around there, but still have to be proud of that run. P2 finish here tonight. Teammate Shane Terrian was running up there inside the top 2, chasing down Chad Thornquist, but he kind of lost a bit of that momentum. You were able to pick it up. Bit of chaos there in those final couple laps, but talk us through your race as a whole and then finishing it out there. Did you think you had a shot at the win?
Yeah, I'll definitely take P2 any day. Especially coming in, got this track earlier today, and wasn't feeling too confident coming in looking at practice speed. So, but figured something out during the race, played some pit strategy because track position turned out to be super important. And then it just came down to those late race restarts. I held the lead for like 20 laps there, and then one of those restarts, I got a little loose entering 3 and slipped up the track, and Thornquist got by, and that was all she wrote. I couldn't get back by him with all the late race cautions and everything going on. But yeah, congrats to Chad. That's awesome. I thought me and Shane were going to get us one there for another one for Sky, but we'll take that for sure. We're in the competition for that the potential $100 prize at Daytona now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something actually we did forget to mention there, Rasaf. But Nick, I mean, we've been talking to you a lot as of late here. You're putting this car in positions where we don't typically see what we would expect you to have, like good runs or anything. You're somehow rumbling out of the pocket. I talked about how this race kind of flipped on strategy there on pit road with a decision of yours to stay out that really gave you the track position during a long green flag run afterward. Walk us through that decision and then just how the car behaved on the racetrack here tonight.
Yeah, I didn't think tires were a super advantage unless you got 20, 30 laps on them. I thought they kind of equalized out, and it was so hard to pass. I felt like that it was hard to make that up even on fresh tires. So kind of made the decision to stay out a couple times and got up there racing Gerald for the lead and was able to take the lead on older tires, and then kind of was just able to control the race for a little bit there until just slipped up on one of those restarts. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. I just was trying to stay up front. I knew how important track position was going to be, and how difficult it was to pass back there because I didn't really know how to pass on this track coming in because I've never raced here, so I had to kind of learn as we went, and kind of start in 10th or something like that. Kind of helped out a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad I'm up here talking to you guys. It's cool broadcasting, and you guys do a great job too, and hopefully we'll continue to be up here talking to you after these things.
Absolutely, man. Love chatting with you after these races. And before we let you go here tonight, though, I want to give you a chance to make some shout-outs on the air.
Yeah, to shout out to my Sky Motorsports teammate. Shane thought he was going to get himself one there. We were up front there towards the end. Matt Muir for doing all the paints for us, and friends Josh Adams had a good run too, so good seeing him up there. I know he's had a rough start to the season, so yeah, and thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast.
All right, man. Congratulations again. P2 finisher Nick Massey in the booth with us. Doesn't look like we're going to get the chance to talk to Jared Rexing, unfortunately. Don't quite see him in the interview booth there. So unfortunate there that we don't get to chat with him because unfortunately we haven't gotten the opportunity yet this season. So, always look forward to that.
Well earned there. Definitely no shortage of that podium run here. It's first of the season. Congratulations, Jared Rexing. How about this race, though, Rashad? There, it had everything, a little bit of chaos, as we've always known, side-by-side battles in there, and surprise, not a surprise winner, but one that we didn't see coming starting this race, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was a really good, a solid race. I'll restrict myself from using good. I think the actual on-track action kind of backed up what we've seen from these cars throughout most of the season so far. I think this track also provides some unique opportunities for guys to try different lines, and it's a very wide racetrack. Of course, we talked about it tonight, and I think that gives people the opportunity to try some different things in terms of how they race the track, how they try different racing lines, things like that. But of course, those cautions, I think, in the middle and especially towards the end, definitely hurt the overall product. So we work on reducing those. I think in general in the series we work on reducing those. The product, of course, improves as well. So I think it's definitely earned a shot at coming back either next season or in future seasons. I love this idea that we're trying to do a Japanese swing here. We do have the Tsukuba circuit coming up in the it's a road course, Japanese road course coming up not Tsukuba, it's Suzuka we're headed to. That's a different one. But the Suzuka East circuit we're headed to during the chase. So can't wait. I love the fact that we're trying out some of these Japanese racetracks. I think they have some of the best in the world from back in my road course racing days.
So glad you guys were able to join us here for the beginning of our Japanese swing right there, and I look forward to seeing these guys turn right and left after a fabulous race that we saw at Coda there. Makes me want to go back to road course racing. Some of the best action I think we have all season long. Congratulations in order for the O2, but also the entire top 5, as Thornquist had mentioned there, or Massey, excuse me if I'm wrong, but all those top 5 are going to have a shot to win $100 at Daytona for the regular season coming down to an end when we visit that speedway here in about 4 weeks' time. So that's something that we will definitely be looking forward to. But just a great race here tonight. Want to thank Dave, as always, for putting us, helping produce those graphics there as well. Chad, for putting on a great series, and then obviously our series sponsor, Rowdy, C2 Freight, Blue Egg, and then Memory Lanes as well, doing a great job in helping us bring you the action at home on YouTube and Discord. So, final thoughts here, Rashad?
I mean, season continues to get more and more interesting. I'm curious to see how this works in terms of the point standings. Of course, Thornquist was up there fighting for that regular season championship, so we'll see if that gives him a bit of a boost there. And I think we continue to see, like you've been saying, with just like it's been with real life here in the Elite Racing Leagues, parity. There's a lot of drivers every single week with a shot to win these races. And we see these shifting all throughout the race, and it's really just timing more so than anything else. It's when are you up front, and is it towards the end of the race? And yeah, I think we've got a really exciting couple of races coming up to finish out the regular season. And if you've thought that what we've had so far has been crazy, just wait until we get to Chase Racing.
Oh man, it could not wait for that to get here later on in this season. All right, guys, I think we pretty much covered it up. I want to say good morning to everybody that's in Japan. Keep your visa. We are going to be here in 1 week time there for some road course racing. But from all of us here in the States,
not 1 week, but
later in the chase, not 1 week. My bad. But keep your visa on you. You'll need it here momentarily. But from all of us here for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series and the Elite Racing Network, so long. We will see you guys next week.